It's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk then?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact is Trump made a good start, no.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Dordme, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
In the GB newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News.
The People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
I'm Bev Turner. Thank you for joining us on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Good morning. Angela Rayner's tax row intensifies.
The lawyers used by the Deputy Prime Minister to purchase her £800,000 flat in Hove now claim they did not give her tax advice and that they have been made scapegoats.
Well, Rayner's team insists there was no wrongdoing, but the revelation sparked more scrutiny and raised questions about how
Nadine Dorries defects to Reform UK. The former Boris Johnson loyalist brands the Tory party dead as she jumps ship.
I support a merger with a party that is fiscally irresponsible and would do things with our economy that would take this country into a very dark place.
But the Shadow Chancellor of the Exchequer, Mel Stride, tells our political editor he has no faith in reform.
Well, it comes as Nigel Farage's party kick off their annual conference in Birmingham today.
Making it rain, the Prince and Princess of Wales join young people at a very wet natural history museum to learn about wildlife.
As new research finds nearly a fifth of people prioritise getting fit and healthy over saving for later life, we're asking, should youngsters spend or save?
A very good morning. Daniel Levy stands down as Tottenham chairman with immediate effect. But was the decision taken out of his hands? We'll have reaction as well as a look back on his 24-year reign and ask what is next for the North London club.
Hello there, good morning. After some heavy thunderstorms yesterday, today is set to be much drier, brighter and with the return of some sunshine. Stay tuned and I'll be here with all the details.
It's just gone 6 o'clock. I'm Stephen Dixon.
I'm Ellie Costello and this is GB News Breakfast. What's your favourite airport? Heathrow for me.
Is it?
I like the shopping. Very spacious.
I like East Midlands Airport.
Oh, do you? And do you know what? I've flown from there once. It was very efficient, actually. I will say.
Very small. No messing about. Love it.
Underrated for me is London City.
Oh, that's a good one.
It's good. I found out it was only, 25 minutes from from the house as well. I've only used it once. That was in 2017.
It's quite expensive, isn't it, to fly from London City?
It depends where you're going, actually. It does. Well, like all airports, Ellie, to be honest with you. But in terms of accessibility, it wasn't too bad. Shop's not too bad. Nice cafe there as well. You can get yourself a nice cappuccino before your flight.
These things are important.
Why?
I do like it when it's a small airport. It's like setting off from someone's lounge or something, quite easy. Anyway, I'm asking because there is a poll about what is the best and worst...
What would we do without polls?
What would we do without polls? It's from Which, the consumer group. Which airports are the best and the worst in the UK? So coming out on top is actually Exeter, would you believe? They do only handle about 500,000 passengers a year, so that might help. There's not that many people going through it.
No.
The worst, Belfast International, followed by London Gatwick, and then London Heathrow Terminal 4.
Oh.
There you go. Liverpool John Lennon did well, came second, and London City came third.
How about service stations?
I don't think they've done a poll on that one.
No.
I've done a poll on that one.
Just my favourite is Norton Keynes.
Oh,
it's
I'm glad you got that off your chest.
Well, no, it's very exclusive because you have to go on the M6 and you have to pay a toll to get on that road anyway, so it's the most exclusive service station in the country.
Can't say I've ever rated them.
Right, Norton Keynes?
There you go.
I don't know. That's got me thinking, though, Aidan. I will have a think.
I used to like going in there with a stat for the staff. I'd say I went to the staff in Bristol once. I said, "Did you know you're the busiest service station in the country?"
In fact, they love you when they
do you? Yeah. Should I spend a few quid? Yeah.
Well, it's easily done, isn't it?
It is.
And one of them. Right. Talking of money, Angela Rayner's lawyers claim they did not give her tax advice and have been made scapegoats to protect the Deputy Prime Minister.
Well, the firm that handled the purchase of her £800,000 home in Hove said they only acted on the information that Angela Rayner provided.
Well, it's a huge blow for the Deputy PM, who blamed legal advice for her failure to pay £40,000 in stamp duty.
So, with Angela Rayner's story being disputed by her lawyers, is it now only a matter of time before Sir Keir Starmer sacks her?
Let's talk to political commentator Theo Usherwood.
Very good morning.
Morning, Theo. I mean, look, actually, it's reached a point now, hasn't it? And you know, I don't always like it when people are demanding resignations, but her position is literally untenable, isn't it?
Well, it's on a knife edge, and it very much depends on what Sir Manners, the government's, the Prime Minister's independent advisor on ethics and standards, says in his report, which is due out today. And it's going to come down to the detail of the paperwork that was provided, because, as you rightly say, and this is the quote in the Telegraph from Joanna Verico, who's the managing director of the firm of solicitors that provided the initial conveyancing advice. She said, "We did not and never have given tax or trust advice. It's something we always refer our clients to an accountant or tax expert for." Now, if that is borne out by the paperwork that's provided, which I'm sure it will be, from Angela Rayner to Sir Manners, then you would expect that Angela Rayner will have to go.
Except she didn't specifically say, did she? It was this company that provided her with the advice. She just said she'd had legal advice.
So she'd gone initially to a standard conveyancing firm to buy the flat in Hove. She provided the information, and as the firm has said in its statement, they did the normal checks using the online calculator that HMRC runs, and that came out with £30,000 of due stamp duty. But actually, there was a complicating factor to this, and that's, of course, the house in Ashton under Lyme and the trust that Angela Rayner has spoken about. And that, obviously, going on the information that wasn't or appears not to have been declared to the solicitor, the arrangement there. And therefore, she's gone to follow-up advice, which finally, the final version of which came through on Wednesday, and then she issued that statement as a result. But if the independent advisor rules that Angela Rayner wasn't upfront with the local firm or the Brighton firm of solicitors when she purchased that £800,000 flat in Hove, she didn't provide the right information, or that there is, and it sounds like a reputable firm, to be honest with you. They said, if you have any other declaration or if there is any other advice you need in terms of tax or trust, when it comes to a trust, then you need to go and see a tax expert, and she didn't do that. Then it's very difficult to see how Keir Starmer doesn't sack her. And he said in that interview yesterday, at the very end of it, he dodged the question repeatedly. He didn't want to, it wouldn't say, but he said that he would be prepared to act. And the bar is set because when Boris Johnson was Prime Minister, and we had the misdeeds of various Tory cabinet ministers. If the ethics advisor finds against you, Labour were adamant you had to resign. It can't be two rules.
And even if the ethics advisor doesn't find against her, and today isn't D-Day, although most of the papers are suggesting that perhaps it is, I mean, just a few weeks' time, we've got a budget, haven't we, where we're looking at stamp duty and increased taxes on property. She is the Secretary of State for Housing. I mean, she has lost all credibility, hasn't she?
There's no winner in this situation, and there's no easy way out of it for the government. The other thing to say is that if Rayner goes to the back benches, I think Keir Starmer's position becomes much more vulnerable, because what you have to realise is, for many loyalists for Keir Starmer who might be wavering, who might be thinking, look, this has gone on for long enough now, this is just so bad, we need an alternative. At least they know Keir Starmer. The risk with Angela Rayner is, in the position she holds, senior position she holds in the cabinet, is that actually it's better the devil you know. You've got Keir Starmer, you could end up having a leadership contest and you end up with Angela Rayner. Now what happens, of course, is it clears the path, most probably for somebody like the Health Secretary, Wes Streeting, and you'll have loyalists on the Labour backbenches to Keir Starmer who suddenly think, actually, we've got rid of Angela Rayner, there's no way she can, she can't go from the backbenches to suddenly being Prime Minister. We've cleared there's a path clear now for somebody that they would view to be sensible, like Wes Streeting, to simply take over from Keir Starmer. Keir Starmer needs Angela Rayner in the cabinet. If Angela Rayner goes, suddenly his position becomes much more vulnerable, because it just becomes a clear path for somebody who would actually, his supporters would like, given the state of affairs that are going on with government and given how bad things are for the Prime Minister.
Can we talk about reform and the Tories?
Yes.
I mean, the sort of big news last night was Nadine Dorries defecting to reform. I mean, she's not a member of Parliament anymore. It seems to be a lot of this with reform, where it's ex-members of the Tory party, if you like, in parliamentary terms at least, now defecting over.
I think this is an interesting one, Nadine Dorries defecting to reform, because of course she was very close in Boris Johnson's cabinet to Boris Johnson, and I think it speaks to, if Nadine Dorries is going across, where does she see, how does it pan out for a Boris Johnson comeback? How does it pan out if Boris Johnson does come back for some sort of alliance between Nigel Farage and Boris Johnson? It feels hard to imagine right now, but I think this defection is more significant than other defections, given how close she was and still is to Boris Johnson. I think this is the early stages, potentially, of an arrangement between Reform and the Tories that other defections don't particularly signify.
All right, well, on that note, our political editor, Christopher Hope, sat down with the Shadow Chancellor of the Exchequer, Mel Stride, who had this to say about any sort of deal.
Can you imagine any kind of merger with that party?
No. Why would I support a merger with a party that is fiscally irresponsible and would do things with our economy that would take this country into a very dark place?
So if that merger happened, would you quit as a Tory?
But I don't get into any hypothetical questions, because it depends on what exactly the circumstances were and so on. But as to merging or whatever with Reform, absolutely not.
Well, Mel Stride was also asked about the possibility of Nigel Farage becoming Prime Minister.
Has Nigel Farage got it in himself to be Prime Minister? Is he that kind of person?
Well,
he's never run anything.
It's interesting that you say Nigel Farage as Prime Minister and not Reform as a party of government, because that is a key distinction, Chop. This is a one-man band. And in fact, if you look at recent polling as to what people's recognition is of some of the others in the group, Richard Tice, for example, it's next to none. It is all about Nigel. And I think Nigel Farage sets the agenda, makes the decisions, is the one that the public knows about and relates to and so on. But there's not been much evidence he's been very good at building a team. If you look at the way that they've fallen out as the MPs in Parliament, Rupert Lowe as one example, but not the only example. So I don't think those things speak to either, as we've been discussing, A, a party that is about planning for the future and coming up with robust plans to deliver on promises, or B, building that cohesive team of people.
I'll tell you what I find quite interesting about that, Theo, is Mel Stride sort of saying, well, you know, the Farage is Reform UK.
Yeah.
You know, it's all about, you know, the charisma of one man. Well, it's the problem that for the Conservatives and for Labour, all the rest of it, is charisma is what is lacking.
Yeah, of course, and it feels like he's sort of, that interview, you could play that interview in sort of 2013, 2014. He feels in a sort of, Mel Stride feels like he's in a time warp, you know, things have moved on. And, you know, Reform have got their conference coming up this weekend. I've been through the agenda. I mean, it is really a step up on where previous guises of Reform have been, whether it's the Brexit Party or UKIP. I mean, it's a highly professional agenda. It seems like it's a top-notch production that Nigel Farage and the party is putting on this weekend for its members. And of course that comes with the risks that it alienates those grassroots members of Reform who like Nigel Farage to be much stronger, much more aligned to, say, somebody like former Reform MP Rupert Lowe. But it does feel from, and I'm sure this will be borne out in the next couple of days at the Reform conference, that actually the party has professionalised and is trying to prove now that it is ready for government. And it may well be, you know, hearing Mel Stride there saying, well, there's a difference between Nigel Farage and being Prime Minister and Reform being the party of government. You know, if it carries on like this, they're not even going to need the Tories as a support act. It's a support act. I mean, they're going to get an overall majority in the polls. We've seen them with a 15-point lead in one poll, an 8-point lead in another. And the trick now for Nigel Farage and for Reform is to consistently break through that 30% barrier, start to push towards 35-40%, and that's where you'd end up with Reform winning quite a hefty overall majority in the House of Commons at the next election.
OK. Theo, good to see you. Thank you very much. You're back with us in the next hour.
Let me just pull this up. Here we go. John, who says, morning, John. We don't want a merger. I voted Tories on and off since 1990. For the last 14 years, they've absolutely betrayed my vote, and immigration has had a big impact on my life and my children's lives. I hope they get destroyed to where they never recover.
Christine says, Mel Stride, I like him. He performs well in Parliament, but all parties are well behind Reform. And that's it. I think a lot of people feel as though they put trust in the traditional two parties, Labour and Conservative, and they've been let down. And there's still a lot of anger, isn't there, and a lot of hurt towards the Tories. And they're looking for something new.
It's interesting, isn't it? The Reform are the only party who have a pyrotechnics budget for their conference season.
It's very Trumpian, isn't it?
It is very Trumpian, but it's working at the minute. I mean, this is the thing, and there is. And I know there was all this talk about, because obviously Nigel, what he was saying in Washington over the last couple of days, all this talk about he's not patriotic, he's talking down Britain. But a lot of people would say he's got optimism. I mean, you know, we're not supporting anyone, we never do on this programme. But there is that momentum behind him.
Yeah.
And that is the big problem that both the main political parties have got to deal with, and they don't neither of them seem to be dealing with that head-on at the moment. I don't know how they get past that.
No, I don't know either. But we are covering the Reform conference here on GB News. We'll be there all morning, throughout the morning today. We're also talking to Zia Yusuf, who's the head of the Doge Department for Reform. So, Department of Government Efficiency, that is. We'll be talking to him about 8:15 this morning.
Yeah. Now, the Prince and Princess of Wales were forced to retreat from biblical rainfall during a visit. It was incredible. At London's Natural History Museum yesterday.
Yes, it was the Royals' first public outing after their long summer break, which was designed to connect inner-city children with the natural world.
Well, we're both excited that our royal correspondent Cameron Walker was there.
Summer's out, clouds roll in. The Prince and Princess of Wales joins children for pond dipping, but the weather had other ideas. Biblical rainfall. A rapid retreat inside the Natural History Museum.
You got the right to
within seconds.
Connecting with nature is important to Prince William and Catherine. And both got stuck into teaching inner city kids about different insects.
They're called dragonflies.
This one is a ladybug.
They've got two different wings on the side.
Let me see.
They can come right up to you, they can hover.
Let me see.
You can feel the wind on their nose.
The museum's education programme has exposed children from more than 7,000 schools, colleges and nurseries to nature in its newly transformed gardens. Dr John Tweedle, head of the Centre for UK Nature at the Natural History Museum, helps inner city children engage with what's around them.
The gardens have been designed so we can engage far more young people in the nature that they'll have near them, actually, not just here in the garden. So learning about the different species we have in our pond, the value of nature, and the steps they can take to help nature where they live.
Is there a way you can encourage more things to go in there?
The Prince and Princess also joined older students from Manchester who've created new habitats on their school grounds. Prince William's Earthshot Prize supports new solutions to tackle environmental problems, and the Princess talks often about the healing power of nature following her cancer battle. It's expected to be a busy autumn term for the future King and Queen. In less than 2 weeks, they will help welcome President Trump for his state visit to the UK. Cameron Walker, GB News in London.
What are we thinking of the new hair?
I'm really enjoying it. What are you thinking of the new hair?
I quite like it. I mean, I just sort of think, let her do what she wants. I know people get very up in arms about it all, that she's gone blonder with a bit of a wave. Do what she likes.
I think good for her.
She's a grown woman. She's been to hell and back recently. Let her just do what on earth she wants. She looks great, whatever she does.
I think for a lot of women, they change their hair after something significant has happened in their life.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, so after a breakup or after they have children or sometimes even after marriage, people do it, a mix-up on their hair. And I think she's had a really tough year or so, hasn't she? So good for her. That's empowered her, made her feel like she's entering a new chapter.
A new woman.
Exactly.
I love the way they talk to the kids and things. They're so
good,
get it.
aren't
Yeah.
they? So good with children.
I don't know, I just love those two.
Me too.
Right, let's bask in the glory of the royals as we have a look at the weather for you this weekend with Honor.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello there, good morning. Welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office. After some thunderstorms yesterday, today is set to be a dry day with sunny spells. Feeling a lot warmer in lighter winds, though we can't rule out occasional showers, mainly across the northwest. But for most, it is set to be a dry day. We'll see some fair weather cloud build up, particularly as we head through into the afternoon, but plenty of sunny spells in between and much lighter winds, so feeling more pleasant than it did yesterday. We'll eventually see more clouds start to push into the northwest where we can't rule out some showers, but you'll be pretty unlucky if you do catch any through the bulk of the day. For many, it's going to remain dry, highs reaching between 21 to 22 degrees Celsius. As we head through into the evening, we'll start to see a return of the cloud once again across the far northwest. We'll start to really see winds begin to build here through into the evening as well. Once again, some showers eventually being replaced by longer spells of rain. Across Northern Ireland, northern parts of England, once again, it should remain dry, but we'll start to see that breeze pick up as we head further into the evening. Elsewhere across England and Wales, remaining dry, and we'll see a mix of cloud and also some clear spells. Where we see those prolonged clear spells, particularly across central areas of England, parts of the southeast, we may see some isolated spots of mist and fog, but really it's all down to the winds building out into the west, more clouds, some showery outbreaks, particularly across Northern Ireland and western parts of Scotland. Northwestern parts of England could also pick up some of those showers, but under the clear skies, feeling a lot cooler and fresher to start the day as we head into the weekend. Now for most, once again, it should be a mostly dry and settled day. We'll start to see a build of higher cloud, which might just create some hazy sunny spells, some milky skies, rather than any sunny spells in particular. But once again, across Northern Ireland, parts of western Scotland, we'll see that cloud thicken up through the course of the day and we'll see some showers. And it's set to be quite a breezy day too. Otherwise, it's fairly similar temperatures to today, highs reaching 22 to 23 degrees Celsius.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
Yes. Now, at 22 minutes past 6, it's time for our daily reflection.
The GB News Daily Reflection.
Hello, I'm Reverend Micah, Vicar in the Church of England. Growing up, my favourite time of the day was the after-school visit to the Pick and Mix. You'd select your sweets and the lady would weigh them on a scale, and it wasn't just any old scale, but one of those antique balance scales, you know the kind I mean. Now, many imagine that God essentially deals with us in that way. Our good deeds are balanced with our bad deeds, and depending on which side is the heaviest, you either go to the good place or to the not so good place. But that, friends, is not the Bible's understanding. Salvation is a gift of God's goodness, earned by Christ and given freely to those who trust in Him. By grace, the Apostle Paul says, not by our works. Now, God, of course, wants us to live good lives of courage and love to those around us, but that is not our earning His love and favour. No, the good that we do in Christ's name is a joyful response of a heart that is transformed by God's goodness.
Now, still to come, Daniel Levy stands down as Tottenham chairman with immediate effect. We'll get all the details from Aidan in just a minute.
This is our country, and we think it's amazing. From high tea to the high street, we love it all. Even the rain, we like that too. There's nowhere else we'd rather be. That's why we're here to be the fearless champion of Britain, its voices and its values. Because we are GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
It's Patrick Christie's Tonight, and here we do things differently. It's explaining the absolute madness of this, doesn't it? It's explosive. I mean, this is very good. It's lively.
850. Your government sat there, Sean, and it did nothing.
It's controversial. And the Middle East has been in turmoil since before I was born. It's everything you need to kickstart your evening. Everyone's had their Weetabix tonight. I love to see it. That's Patrick Christie's Tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
no,
isn't it?
No,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Dubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Time for our latest Great British giveaway now, and it is our biggest prize to date, worth more than £104,000.
Yes, that's made up of a 4-berth motorhome worth over £74,000, plus a whopping £30,000 in tax-free cash. Here are all the details that you need.
It's our biggest, greatest Great British giveaway to date. Your chance to win a prize package worth over £104,000. You could be driving away with this brand new Benamar Primero motorhome. With thanks to Marquis Leisure, this 4-berth home from home comes complete with integrated kitchen and bathroom areas, sky view roof light, and has all the tech you'd expect from the latest 2025 model. We'll also give you an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash to make sure any adventures in your motorhome are taken in style.
For a chance to win the motorhome and cash, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. The winner will be contacted live on GB News, week commencing 10th of November. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Yeah, best of luck to you on that one. It's a cracking prize. We've got some cracking sport for you. Aidan McGee's here this morning, and all the big news is about Daniel Levy going at Spurs. I mean, you've got to ask though with this. I mean, is he jumped? Was he pushed? Did the Eze deal force him out?
Good question. I mean, look, we had lots of analysis last night. First of all, we should say that he announced his departure from Tottenham with immediate effect. 24 years he's been at that club. I mean, you think about it, it's only 2 years less than Sir Alex Ferguson did at Manchester United. We'll explore his legacy in a moment. In terms of what pushed him out, well, it was a question everyone was asking last night, Ellie, and it later emerged via the BBC and The Guardian that it was taken out of his hands. Don't forget, he's a very minority shareholder. He's kind of more of an employee of the club, really. The main shareholders are the Lewis family, who are based over in the Bahamas, I believe. They transferred some shares to their children, or to his children, rather. And I think the Eze deal, looking back, was probably quite pivotal. 3 weeks ago? He was a player, Stephen, who was ready to go into the first team. They needed him. James Maddison had been injured with a long-term injury. He was ready to go into the first team. And the issue wasn't the actual scale of the transfer fee, it was the structure of the payment deal, I believe. And for Arsenal, they're great rivals who they hate missing out to, or they hate losing out to in any sense, to come in and just take the player from under their noses. When you've been in negotiations with the player for probably about a month, and you know that when the player supports the rivals Arsenal, there's always a danger that Arsenal could come in, he's going to be vulnerable to go in there. To lose him like that would have been galling, I imagine, not just for the supporters and for Daniel Levy himself, but also the new manager, Thomas Frank, who'd started the season pretty well. And I imagine that, it's not everything, don't get me wrong. There's been lots of deals like that where Daniel Levy has been accused of pulling out for X, Y and Z reason, but I think that one possibly, to me, from the outside looking in, looks like one that might have just pushed the envelope ever so slightly against him. He's still going to be a fan, he's still going to go to games, and when we look back at his legacy as well, I mean, he took over in 2001. They're no stranger to odd decisions. I mean, within weeks of that appointment, they sacked George Graham just before the FA Cup semi-final at Old Trafford in 2001, which again they lost to Arsenal. But you look at the money they spent down the years. I mean, some of the transfer fees have been crazy. I mean, everyone says that he's trying to save money and he's trying to make the club viable. Yes, that's true, he's done it, but they haven't half-wasted money on players. I mean, £63 million 5 years ago on Tanguy and Ndombele, £63 million. He barely kicked a ball for that club, and he didn't do anything there. And that's 5 years ago. £63 million then is probably more like, in today's market, it's more like 80 now. That's not just normal inflation, that's football inflation. And so his career is littered with recruits like that, people who didn't live up to expectation. There have been some successful ones as well. The training ground was a big thing when it opened in 2012. Training grounds are something that the fans don't actually realise how important they are. If you want players to stay there, spend all their day there practising free kicks and corners and training routines and eating the right food, it's got to be a place it's better than their home. And that certainly is. I've been there many times. You have to gain access. You have to use a thumbprint. So that's not a thumbprint, is it? That's a full fingerprint. But you have to get in there. It's a high-tech place. And the stadium as well, built at a cost of £1 billion. Criticised at the time for not building what Arsenal did in 2006. They took their time and they built something even better. And it's a money-making machine now. Their match-day revenue must be around about £3.5 to £4 million, the value of the club. And they've ridden a wave. Don't get me wrong, it's not all about Daniel Levy's good housekeeping, but they've ridden a wave. But nonetheless, they've increased the value of the club to stratospheric levels. And if they ever did come to sell it, the owners, then, and there's talk of Saudi investment as well in the next year or so, then it'd be worth a hell of a lot more than the club that you found back in 2001. So you have to give credit for that. But listening to supporters last night, most of them were quite happy to see him go, because I think they can see a point in the future where they will be going toe-to-toe with Liverpool and Manchester City for the best players in the land.
Let's hope so. OK, Aidan, thank you very much. Now, if you're travelling to work or school this morning, here's your traffic and travel update.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Good morning, this is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. There's a closure on the M876 Junction 2 on Slip northbound due to ongoing overnight maintenance work. Drivers are advised to follow the signed diversion route and brace for longer journey times. In Essex, the A120 westbound between the B1256 near Great Dunmow and the M11, a vehicle fire has resulted in the closure of one of two lanes. And on the trains, there are disruptions on the Gatwick Express between London Victoria and Clapham Junction, and a reduced service on the London North Western Railway between Bletchley and Bedford. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Now, still to come, could the price of a pint be set to soar?
I hope not. They're already so expensive, aren't
They are, aren't they?
Well, Nigel and Claire will be here to tell us all about that in the papers next morning. You two, chat to you in just a few seconds. Here's GB News with Stephen and Ellie.
Welcome back to Britain's Newsroom with Andrew and Beth.
Hello everyone, Patrick Christie is here.
I'm Michelle Duke, Britain's News Channel.
Access the stories that matter to you. Take the GB News family with you on any device. And as long as you have an internet connection, tune in to GB News anywhere on the planet or beyond. GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's News Channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact is Trump made a good start, no.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's News Channel.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience, because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions, but every Friday night at 9 p.m. you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's News Channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's News Channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
no,
isn't it?
No,
Because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes and Co weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
6:37, let's go through the papers with our senior political commentator Nigel Nelson and former Conservative advisor Claire Pearsall. Good morning to you both.
Good morning.
Nigel, let's start with the Express, should we? Whoever thought we'd be talking about Verico and Associates with such passion?
Well, indeed, and they'd rather not be talked about at all. This was the firm that advised Angela Rayner, and they say they never gave her any advice about tax, and feel they've been made scapegoats in this whole sort of scandal that's going on.
What do you think?
Do I think that
Well, yeah, I mean, where do you think she stands?
Well, I mean, I think it comes down to Laurie Magnus, the ethics advisor. It depends on his report about whether she has to go. I think the real problem is the nightmare for Keir Starmer, either way, that in the event that she goes, that she's deputy leader of the party as well as deputy prime minister. He can get rid of her as deputy prime minister and as housing secretary, but he has no control over the deputy leadership of the party. So that's voted on by the members. So you have the situation, if she decides to stay in that position, that she'll become the magnet for disgruntled backbenchers. Or there's the alternative, which is a deputy leadership election, which means criticising the Labour government, whoever cares to actually stand.
Claire?
It's quite interesting that last night I was talking to friends of mine who aren't into politics. They take a sort of broad view of the news. They were asking, how can she get away with it?
Yeah.
This is sort of filtered through to everybody saying, but this isn't right. And I think that is the problem for the Labour Party. They're supposed to be there for the working people, but you have your Deputy Prime Minister facing calls that she had not paid £40,000 of stamp duty.
Yeah, so interesting, because I was out for dinner last night talking to a girl who's trying to sell her flat, trying to move into a house. Not an option for her, she can't afford the stamp duty. And she was saying, how can the housing secretary get away with this? She was angry. And this is not a political person.
This is why
it's had cut through.
Yes.
I sort of think, Nigel, I know you were saying, well, it all depends on what the ethics advisor, has to say, what this investigation has to say. I wonder if it does, because even if she is cleared, surely her position is still untenable.
Well, I think her position is difficult, especially if we end up with property taxes in the autumn budget. But, I mean, she could hang on, and like all these stories, that in a year's time they begin to fade. I mean, it'll always be brought...
No, I don't think so.
It'll
I think
be brought
this is serious. But this is one of those serious aspects, and the Labour Party have got not a great reputation. You had the anti-corruption minister being accused of corruption. You've had a transport minister...
I think that portfolio goes.
Yes, you've had a transport minister that had to go due to some little difficulty with the police a few years back. You've had the homelessness minister causing people to be homeless, and now you have the housing secretary not paying taxes on property. So I'm not sure that you can just say, oh, well, in a year's time people would have forgotten about it. No, this is building into a huge narrative that the Labour Party cannot be trusted.
Well, in a year's time, we're talking about Angela Rayner rather than the overall problems with the Labour Party, but in a year's time, she still might be Deputy Prime Minister. But that's why, Stephen, it does depend on what Laurie Magnus says. It doesn't mean, he may rule she didn't break the ministerial code, but criticise her in such a way that Keir Starmer has no alternative but to sack her. Also down the road is what HMRC say. If they turn around and fine her, I think she's in exactly the same situation, and she would have have to go then?
HMRC have been quite blunt and put out a statement saying that their calculator that pretty much everybody has to use when they're buying and selling properties is quite categorical, that she would have had to pay it and there was no way out of it. So it looks like everybody's circling around, and when you have law firms saying this wasn't us, HMRC saying no, actually your banks are right, we're quite clear on this, how can she remain in position?
Claire, let's stay with you, shall we, and look at the Sun. Regally blonde. Catherine's gone blonde.
I think her hair looks really pretty.
Me too.
I have to admit that she looks much better than I do when I've been out standing in the rain. Even though she was under umbrellas, the weather was appalling yesterday on her visit to the Natural History Museum. And I think her hair looks absolutely gorgeous. And I know people are going to criticise it and say this is a non-story, but I think it looks really pretty. She thinks it's great. Good luck to her. And I've had to explain this morning what all this is to Nigel, because he had no idea.
I had no idea what a balayage was. It's the first
I don't know what a balayage is.
Oh, well, there you go. Good. Excellent.
So it looks natural.
So Claire explained to me, yeah, but I'd never heard the word.
It's a natural look.
You start painting on your hair.
It takes a very long time.
Makes your hair look sun-kissed or something, apparently.
Yeah.
Rather than foils.
Rather than foils, so it's just kind of free painted on. So it looks a bit more like the sun's just
sun-kissed.
The mystery to me. But isn't it odd? She must have known. I mean, it must be awful to be in that position where you know changing your hairstyle is going to make the national news.
Yes, I know.
Yeah.
But I mean, every time she appears will make the national news, won't it? I mean, that's the position she's in.
I mean, it's guaranteed front pages, isn't it? And she must get nervous knowing she has to debut a new style, but she looks wonderful.
Yeah, she
does.
does.
Good for her.
All right, you two, we're going to leave it there, but back in just a moment, because we'll be talking about a generation that can't do one very simple household task. Can you guess what it is? We'll tell you more in a moment.
Yes, but first...
Ready to soak up that holiday sunshine?
Won't we need some cover?
No worries. All sorted.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Low pressure to the west of the UK may drag in some breezy conditions around coasts of Portugal. Otherwise, it's mostly fine and settled across much of Europe. Here's this area of low pressure bringing in those breezy conditions around coasts of western Portugal, northwestern parts of Spain, potentially bringing in some cloud, perhaps some light outbreaks of rain later into the day. But as we move our way eastwards across the Mediterranean, we can see it's mostly dry, settled, plenty of sunshine. That theme continues over the weekend, along with the warm sunshine.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m. only on GB News.
Good afternoon, Britain. Weekdays from midday.
There's a big change in the age of parents, so first-time parents are getting older and older. There's been a significant increase in the number of men over 60 becoming fathers, a 15% increase in just 1 year, and an increase in the number of babies born to foreign parents. But what's really, really concerning is that what's called the total fertility rate, that's the average number of babies that each woman has over her childbearing life, has gone down again. It is now at a record low, just 1.41 children on average per woman. And of course, we need about 2.1 to have a stable population. Now, a lot of people think, well, why don't we want the population to decline? We've been warning about burgeoning population for 50, 60 years now. But I think the really important factor to consider here is it's not really the overall size of the population that matters so much as the proportion of young to old, because that is what we need in order to have enough people working, enough people paying taxes to support people who are retired, to support people who are sick. And that is going down and down and down with huge economic consequences.
Do the figures divide it so that they can say whether the children are of African heritage or of this or of that? Does it tell you those sorts of statistics as well? And if so, what are the What are they?
Yes, so we know the nationality of mothers who give birth, and in terms of foreign mothers, the greatest number of babies are born to women of Indian and Pakistani heritage. So they are the biggest numbers, the biggest nationalities. But I think what's really important to note is that even with the huge and unpopular levels of immigration that we've had, even with those levels, the birth rate is still falling and the ratio of young to old is still going down.
GB News, the People's Channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun. No, he didn't say that, though. I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back. Nigel and Claire are here with us, going through the papers. Claire, big news. Nadine Dorries has quit the Tories to join Reform. She says the Tory party is dead.
This is coming from former MP Nadine Dorries, who...
You're not speaking with a...
Can you get that? Can you get the enthusiasm? Look, Reform has taken many former Conservative MPs and ministers into their fold.
Former, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. It does. And I think for them to have any kind of real big scalp, it would need to be a sitting MP. So, that, all eyes are on people in the cabinet, the shadow cabinet at the moment. But I always find it quite amusing that Nigel Farage has said that the Tory party is appalling, that all MPs were rubbish, that's why we lost the last election, but he has created a home for them.
Yeah.
So all those people that he thought were particularly awful have joined his party. So it's not a surprise. And a lot of the messages that were going backwards and forwards on different groups I'm on WhatsApp last night were, well, we thought she would have done it earlier.
Oh.
Yeah.
She was busy writing books.
She was. I thought I hadn't heard from her for a while. The social media was very quiet. Well, this was clearly why.
And not a surprise. It wasn't a surprise, really.
No, but the interesting thing is, of course, she was Boris Johnson's biggest cheerleader.
That's right.
So it raises the question, what could he do? It raises the question about if he got back into the Tory fold, in parliamentary terms.
What would she do?
Could it lead to, could it lead to a bit more of a merger or cooperation? Or
I can't see. I honestly can't see Boris Johnson cooperating with Reform, but he may come back. I mean, he quite clearly has political ambitions again.
Unfinished business.
Yes, basically, yes. But at the moment, it's difficult to see the mechanism by which he would come back. And also, the Tory party is in a bit of a mess. I mean, would he want to come back and lead that kind of rabble? When it comes down to defections, Claire's absolutely right. But what Nigel Farage desperately needs is people who look like they could be cabinet ministers. At the moment, there's really no one there that he's got. If you're looking to win an election, people have got to have confidence in you. You can form a government and a government that works.
He's also saying, isn't he, Farage, according to Zia Yusuf, who we're talking to later in the programme, he's also saying Nigel wants an American-style cabinet, if you like, where you're actually bringing in outsiders, like they do, and so they don't have to be elected members of Parliament to be the Energy Secretary, for example.
Well, it would be really interesting to see how that works with our constitution and democracy.
Well, it would be the same as Lord Cameron coming in from...
Yeah, you can do it from the House of Lords, but but even there, you're still a parliamentarian.
And that was always the criticism when Lord Cameron did that, was everybody said, but you can't demand he comes to the dispatch box to answer questions from MPs who are representing constituents. You can't adequately scrutinise scrutinise the policy-making process if they aren't in the House of Commons. So I'm not convinced that our system would accept that kind of Americanisation of having people from the outside when the whole basis of democracy is that those are representatives of the people in the House of Commons and need to be held to account. So I'm not quite sure if that would fly with the public. It might sound very enticing on the surface, but I think if people have no choice who is the Energy Secretary, for example, I think they might take a bit of a dim view on this.
Well, let us know what you think on that. gbnews.com/your say.
Claire, can we have a look at... Oh, no, who did? Nigel. Nigel, it's your turn to kick off.
Oh, OK.
Don't want to cause a family row. Can we have a look at our favourite topic, Gen Z?
Oh, Gen Z, yes.
What is it that they still can't do?
Lots of things. They can't put up a shelf, they can't fix a light bulb, they can't clean the loo, and they can't iron clothes. They also can't work the washing machine, and I then have some sympathy with them because the only way I can work the washing machine is with a post-it note which tells me each sort of each step of the way to go.
It's not difficult.
No, it really
I know
isn't.
Claire keeps telling me it's not difficult, but the
hard.
post-it note is really important, so I know which order to press the button.
I just don't understand how you can't change a light bulb, or how
I can change it,
or how you can't clean a toilet.
Well, I can clean a toilet, although I'd rather not. I can change a light bulb, and I do iron my own shirts.
Can you put up a shelf, though?
I doubt to be trusted with that one.
I think that one's quite cruel. I couldn't put up a shelf.
No, there are people that can do these jobs. I am not one of them. My mother always used to say to me that there's always a man who can.
Oh, yes.
Don't, come at me for sexism here, but it was always the way, because my father was spectacularly rubbish at doing it. He put one up in the garage once and put some tins of paint on it, was very proud, and a couple of hours later it fell down and the tins of paint went on his car.
Yeah.
So from that point onwards he was never trusted. But I think changing a light bulb's not that difficult.
I just think that everyone's getting too spoiled. I mean, it's like that idea of saying, well, I can clean the toilet, but I'd rather not. Nobody ever wakes up and one day, I can't wait to clean the toilet today.
It has to be done,
Nobody
Nigel.
wants to do these jobs.
Somebody has to.
I did have a go over the weekend, but it's not looking so good. So I think that probably Claire is a better toilet cleaner.
A bit of elbow grease.
Bit of elbow grease.
Just finally, Claire, price of pints set to soar.
Yes.
They can't go up anymore.
Well, I think they can. I mean, the farmers have had a very, very bad year. The harvest has been quite poor, especially in places like Kent, where hops are prevalent. And it's been one of the warmest summers on record. Crops haven't grown properly, the yield is down, so therefore if you have fewer hops, the prices are going to increase, which means the pint of beer is going to increase in price. And I think we're going to see a lot of price increases. We're already seeing it with things like horse feed and hay, because the harvest has been so bad, so poor. That's what farmers have got to live with.
Yeah. OK, you two. Thank you very much indeed. We'll see you a little bit later on.
Yep.
Now let's get a check on the weather with Honor, and hopefully we don't have that biblical rain we had yesterday.
Today, clouds overhead. Total zen within. Boxed Solar sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello there, good morning. Welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office. After some thunderstorms yesterday, today is set to be a dry day with sunny spells. Feeling a lot warmer in lighter winds, though we can't rule out occasional showers, mainly across the northwest. But for most, it is set to be a dry day. We'll see some fair weather cloud build up, particularly as we head through into the afternoon, but plenty of sunny spells in between and much lighter winds, so feeling more pleasant than it did yesterday. We'll eventually see more clouds start to push into the northwest, where we can't rule out some showers, but you'll be pretty unlucky if you do catch any through the bulk of the day. For many, it's going to remain dry, highs reaching between 21 to 22 degrees Celsius. As we head through into the evening, we'll start to see a return of the cloud once again across the far northwest. We'll start to really see winds begin to build here through into the evening as well. Once again, some showers eventually being replaced by longer spells of rain. Across Northern Ireland, northern parts of England, once again, it should remain dry, but we'll start to see that breeze pick up as we head further into the evening. Elsewhere across England and Wales, remaining dry, and we'll see a mix of cloud and also some clear spells. Where we see those prolonged clear spells, particularly across central areas of England, parts of the southeast, we may see some isolated spots of mist and fog, but really it's all down to the winds building out into the west, more clouds, some showery outbreaks, particularly across Northern Ireland and western parts of Scotland. Northwestern parts of England could also pick up some of those showers, but under the clear skies, feeling a lot cooler and fresher to start the day as we head into the weekend. Now for most, once again, it should be a mostly dry and settled day. We'll start to see a build of higher cloud, which might just create some hazy sunny spells, some milky skies, rather than any sunny spells in particular. But once again, across Northern Ireland, parts of western Scotland, we'll see that cloud thicken up through the course of the day and we'll see some showers. And it's set to be quite a breezy day too. Otherwise, it's fairly similar temperatures to today, highs reaching 22 to 23 degrees Celsius.
Today, clouds overhead. Total zen within. Box Solar sponsors the weather on GB News.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Good morning, this is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. The A120 westbound is experiencing significant disruptions due to a vehicle fire between the B1256 near Great Dunmow West and the M11. Traffic congestion is expected to persist, so drivers are advised to find alternative routes. In Derbyshire, congestion is reported on the A38 southbound between the junctions with the A610 and the A61 near Derby. Furthermore, 3 lanes are restricted northbound, exacerbating delays in the area. And on the trains, Gatwick Express has no service, while London North Western Railway is experiencing a reduced service between Bletchley and Bedford. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
It's our biggest Great British giveaway to date. You could be driving away with this brand new Benamar Primera motorhome. This 4-berth home from home comes complete with integrated kitchen and bathroom areas and has all of the tech you'd expect from the latest 2025 model. We'll also give you an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash to make sure that any adventures you take in your new motorhome are taken in style. For a chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK, we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News, the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Miriam, you can't be serious. Scrapping the triple lock on state pensions? Madness.
Andrew, we just can't carry on pretending. The numbers just don't add up. We've got to be honest with people. We've got to face the facts. That's what people want.
Well, that's what you get on GB News and on Britain's Newsroom. Lively debates, lively conversation.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first, and we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pearce.
And me, Miriam Gates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Good morning. Angela Rayner's tax row intensifies.
The lawyers used by the Deputy Prime Minister to purchase her £800,000 flat in Hove now claim they did not give her tax advice and they have been made the scapegoats.
Rayner's team insists there was no wrongdoing, but the revelation has sparked more scrutiny and raised questions about how long she can stay in her job.
Nadine Dorries defects to Reform UK. The former Boris Johnson loyalist brands the Tory party dead as she jumps ship.
I support a merger with a party that is fiscally irresponsible and would do things with our economy that would take this country into a very dark place.
Shadow Chancellor Mel Stride tells our political editor he has no faith in reform.
Well, it comes as Nigel Farage's party kicks off their annual conference in Birmingham today.
The Prince and Princess of Wales join young people at a very wet natural history museum to learn about wildlife.
As new research finds nearly a fifth of people prioritise getting fit and healthy over saving for later life, we're asking, should youngsters spend or save?
Daniel Levy stands down as Tottenham chairman with immediate effect. But was the decision taken out of his hands? We'll have reaction as well as a look back on his 24-year reign and ask what's next for the North London club.
Hello there, good morning. After some heavy thunderstorms yesterday, today is set to be much drier, brighter, and with the return of some sunshine. Stay tuned and I'll be here with all the details.
Just gone 7 o'clock, I'm Stephen Dixon.
I'm Ellie Costello, and this is GB News Breakfast.
Later on in the programme, we're going to be talking about this new car. It's a Porsche, right? And it's apparently game-changing because it is electric, and I know you may or may not like electric cars, but it's the way it's all going, so we're going to have to get used to it. But it's got wireless charging.
Right. So how would that work?
Well, presumably you have, if you have a driveway, for example, presumably there's sort of a pad you put on your driveway, and you just drive over it, and then it just starts charging.
Well, that's quite handy.
Or whether, because you could reach a point where perhaps there are, like, strips put in roads so your car charges as you're driving along.
Oh,
I mean, that'd be a long way in the future, but that could happen.
That's a very good idea. Or that car parks just have pads under every single car parking space.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the future.
Yeah. So it could be really interesting. But it is a Porsche, and
Probably about £1 million.
Ellie decided she'd like one now.
Yeah, am I allowed to say that? I'm not allowed to.
Yeah, of course you are. Because it's...
I really want one.
You really want one? Yeah, you can say that because you like the look of it.
I've always wanted a Porsche, to be fair.
And so she's just said...
Do you have one?
I had one, yeah. 2013 I bought it, yeah. Oh. And I crashed it after 36 hours.
Yeah, I remember you telling me that one, yeah.
Got the pictures as well. Yeah, well, no, 36 hours, not straight away.
Oh, well, you know, pretty well. But Ellie just said, oh, will you buy me one? Will you buy me one?
And you said you would.
I went, yeah, of course I will, yeah.
And I looked it up, and it's about $120,000.
Oh, is it? Right,
Yes.
it's about 100 grand then.
It's about 100 grand. I think worth it.
You'll get paid. You'll get annoyed with all the parts and things like that, all the servicing, the tyres. It's so expensive.
Think of the glam, Aidan. Think of the glam.
Ellie just thinks I will just buy him one.
Well, you did just offer.
Oh, yeah, I wasn't being...
My birthday next year.
I wasn't being... And then she said... I was almost laughing when we started the top of the show because she just went... Well, you can write it off against your taxes as a business expense.
You had to buy your colleague a car.
It's like, what?
Just have a think.
I don't think it works like that.
Have a think. Just say I use it as my office because I listen to the radio on the way in and I do all my work there. It's my office, yeah. So I think we can...
But also, you also admit you're not a very good driver.
I'm a very bad driver. But as Theo Ushwood was just saying to me,
yes,
an automatic car, your wife's got one, an electric one as well?
No, it's not an electric one. It's just an ordinary one.
And she's happier as a driver?
Much happier.
It is much easier driving an automatic.
So I think I'd be a lot happier.
There we go. Sold it.
There you are. Sold it. So thank you, Stephen, for your very kind offer.
Very kind.
And my birthday next year, I'll be the very proud driver of an electric Porsche.
Will you?
Yeah.
Right, there you go. I mean, I'll be bankrupt, but never mind. OK, Angela Rayner's lawyers claim they haven't given her tax advice and they've been made scapegoats to help protect the Deputy Prime Minister.
Well, the firm that handled the purchase of her £800,000 home in Hove said they only acted on the information that she provided.
Well, of course, this is a very big blow for Angela Rayner because she blamed legal advice for her failure to pay £40,000 in stamp duty.
So, with Angela Rayner's story now disputed by her lawyers, is it only a matter of time before Sir Keir Starmer gives her her marching orders?
Theo Ushwood, as you know, is here. Morning, yes. Theo.
Good morning.
I mean, can she survive this either which way? Because her position just seems untenable. It's not going to go away. She's not going to be able to do a single news conference or anything without this being yelled at her.
You're quite right, because, of course, Rachel Reeves, the Chancellor, is going to bring forward her budget on November the 26th, and there are going to be some painful decisions in there when it comes to, I'm sure, taxing wealth, property, shares, and potentially as well increases in stamp duty, inheritance tax, because she's got to find around £40 billion to fill the black hole that currently exists in the public finances. And the screams from the sidelines from opposition parties is going to be that, well, hang on a moment, what about your own Deputy Prime Minister and what she did with her stamp duty? And that's, of course, if she remains in post. But we'll know later today when Sir Laurie Maness, the independent advisor to the Prime Minister on ethics and standards, reports and provides his. It's going to be a quick report in 2 days from when he was commissioned to do it. And if there is, it's going to be very difficult for the Prime Minister, Keir Starmer, having at every turn championed the resignation or call for the resignation of Tory ministers for sat in the House of Commons and said if the parliamentary committee found against Boris Johnson, he'd have to step down. Having always set his stall out that ministers who break the code, ministerial code, have to go, the Prime Minister's going to have to act or be accused of rank hypocrisy. And there were, I think, there's been some, I think some concerns at the way in which this, the Labour ministers have tried to bat away the story about Angela Rayner. We've heard about Angela Rayner's privacy being, affected by journalists investigating this. We've heard about, Leader of the House of Commons, Lucy Powell, stood up yesterday and said she was being attacked because she was good. Let's make no bones about it. She didn't pay £40,000 in stamp duty that was owed. She's admitted that she should have paid that. She's, of course, blaming the legal advice. But that's serious nonetheless, and the money should have been paid. And I do think that Labour need to be... We had a similar refrain when we had the row about Keir Starmer's £2,000 worth of spectacles last summer and the wardrobe donations and so forth. I think there is this sort of almost arrogant complacency sometimes that exists within Labour, that somehow if the Tories break the rules, that's an egregious breach of the ministerial code or whatever. But when they do it, well, somehow it's holier than thou. We don't, we shouldn't cast aspersions on their character or whatever. And I think there needs to be, moving forward from this, if ministers will make mistakes, I think there needs to be a sort of going back to first principles, going back to that first speech that Keir Starmer gave on the steps of Downing Street, a recognition that he got there because he put forward a managerialism that actually things could be done better, that you could have a competent government, and otherwise it sits as rank hypocrisy.
Yeah, well, he promised something better, didn't he? And I mean, he would also perhaps do a good job to put his hands up and say, well, the last government came down by cake, didn't they, from Partygate? So they need to hold themselves to a better standard.
Well, yes, and having set the standard in opposition, and Keir Starmer, to give him his due, he was very good all the time ensuring that he could hold ministers, including the Prime Minister Boris Johnson at the time, to the letter of the rules, and particularly around Partygate. And he was very effective at doing that. But it does mean that you have to follow the same standards yourself when you become Prime Minister, as Keir Starmer has done. And he promised, to bring back a government of public service. And yet, time and again, as Claire was outlining when she reviewed the papers, we have a situation where ministers are not meeting those standards. And I think that's...
within that, there's obviously the Housing Secretary,
Homelessness, Rushnar Ali,
and who else was it? Corruption.
Yeah, we had the
Anti-Corruption
Minister. And I mean, so these are people who are sort of working against their own brief.
Yeah.
And if you get this at least sense within the public that it's do as I say, not as I do, then people just will not swallow that.
And it's the one thing that particularly British voters hate, is they hate hypocrisy. They'll take, people are patient. Your viewers here at GB News are reasonable, patient people, right? But what they don't like is they don't like being preached at to, you should do this, but actually we're going to break the rules ourselves. We're going to be different to ourselves. People don't want that.
Do you think that's why there's been this cut-through? We're talking about it in the newspaper review. I don't know if you caught it.
Yeah,
Claire mentioning it as well. The cut-through with the British public, because Angela Rayner has been, well, one of the main attack dogs, really, for the Labour Party, hasn't she? Calling for Tory...
one rule for them.
Yeah, Jeremy Hunt and Nadeem Zahawi called for both of them to resign. You'd expect it to be, well, whiter than white.
Yeah, and I think, look, let's wait and see exactly what the advice was. But, you know, this you know, as you outlined, the statement on the front page of the Telegraph that's been picked up by the other papers is clear that the solicitors don't think that they were to blame. And if you're a minister, you've got to be alive to the fact that you have to be your standards have to be beyond reproach, and especially if you're a minister that is has stood on a platform, a political platform, to ensure that you're going to clean up politics. And we understand that. Politicians lead tough lives. Nobody's life is simple, right? And obviously there's, as Angela Rayner detailed in her statement, there's some really complicating, quite tragic factors behind all of this. But at the same time, we're talking about a huge amount of money, £40,000 to most people. Yeah. And it's not simply a case of, well, if the advice hasn't been, the advice is, we can't, you don't have to pay this, and it's categorical, then fine. But it doesn't sound from what the statement that's been issued by the solicitors, the conveyancing solicitors who provided the initial advice, that they had any information about this whatsoever.
OK. Thea, thanks very much indeed.
Now, Reform UK's national conference begins today with the leader of the party, Nigel Farage, giving a speech later today.
Well, there'll also be speeches from Lee Anderson, Dame Andrea Jenkins and Dr David Bull.
Well, it comes as Reform are leading in many of the polls and becoming a political force. But can they keep up that momentum?
Yeah, it's a lot to ask, but they're certainly in the right position at the moment. Let's talk to our Deputy Political Editor, Tom Harwood, who's at conference in Birmingham for us this morning. Morning, Tom. I mean, look, it's a fascinating time for Reform, isn't it? But it's about holding it all together now.
You're certainly right, Stephen and Ellie, and I must say that I've been to the last 3 Reform Party conferences. This one feels like nothing I have felt before for this political party. Let me just show you a little bit about this conference. The doors are yet to open, but we've been given privileged access inside the main conference hall. You can see the GB News stand behind me. But what's different this year about this conference is it's not just the media who've been invited, it's corporate sponsors too. Business is paying attention to the Reform Party this year in a way that they haven't before. The Heathrow company, yes, Heathrow Airport is sponsoring an international business lounge. Or whether we sweep around and see other companies from property relations advisors, infrastructure companies, finance companies, a company selling gold, First Bus, all of these different firms really paying interest in Reform UK, taking seriously the prospect of Reform UK as a party that is serious in our politics. Now, let's go back to sort of 12 months ago. We were in a much smaller hall for the Reform Conference. It was a much smaller set of events. The party had just elected 4 MPs, a tally that they still remain at today, and the party was buoyed. They thought they could be a thorn in the side of Keir Starmer and his newly elected government. But I don't think anyone in that room really thought that within just 12 months' time, people would be talking seriously about a prospect of reform in government. And that is what this conference feels like today. Whether it's the councillors' lounge on the other side of the enormous hall here, or just the sense that there is a greater sense of professionalisation of this party that we're seeing here in Birmingham. This feels like a grown-up conference conference for reform, perhaps for the first time. But yes, they do have a lot to prove. Nigel Farage now saying that there is a possibility this Labour government could collapse sooner than people think. Of course, parliaments are elected for a term of up to 5 years. But if the fiscal situation this country faces gets ever more perilous, if the markets force this government into making more cuts, the argument, so says Nigel Farage, is that there could be a huge number of Labour MPs who split off, join Jeremy Corbyn, collapse that majority for Keir Starmer, and perhaps an election in 2027. Not the most likely scenario, but one that the leader of this party here wants to prepare his troops for at this conference.
It's going to be a busy weekend. Tom Harwood there for us in Birmingham. Thank you very much.
Now, the Prince and Princess of Wales were forced to retreat from, frankly, biblical rainfall during a visit to London's Natural History Museum yesterday.
Well, it was the royals' first public outing after their long summer break, which was designed to connect inner-city children with the natural world. Well, our royal correspondent Cameron Walker was there.
Summer's out, clouds roll in. The Prince and Princess of Wales joined children for pond dipping, but the weather had other ideas. Biblical rainfall. A rapid retreat inside the Natural History Museum.
Dry at least. You got the right to try it. I believe it. It was so long and then within seconds.
Connecting with nature is important to Prince William and Catherine. And both got stuck into teaching inner-city kids about different insects.
They're called dragonflies. This one is a ladybug. So they've got two different wings on the side. They can come right up to you, they can hover. Let me see. You can feel the wind on their nose.
The museum's education programme has exposed children from more than 7,000 schools, colleges and nurseries to nature in its newly transformed gardens. Dr John Tweedle, head of the Centre for UK Nature at the Natural History Museum, helps inner-city children engage with what's around them.
The gardens have been designed so we can engage far more young people in the nature that they'll have near them, actually, not just here in the garden. So learning about the different species we have in our pond, the value of nature, and the steps they can take to help nature where they live.
Is there a way you can encourage more things to go in there?
The Prince and Princess also joined older students from Manchester who've created new habitats on their school grounds. Prince William's Earthshot Prize supports new solutions to tackle environmental problems, and the Princess talks often about the healing power of nature following her cancer battle. It's expected to be a busy autumn term for the future King and Queen. In less than 2 weeks, they will help welcome President Trump for his state visit to the UK. Cameron Walker, GB News in London.
Will it be biblical rain today, though?
Oh, I hope not. It's been bad all week, hasn't it? It's been terrible.
Been miserable. But this is such a grown-up thing to say. It's good for the garden. Good for the plants.
It's true.
It's a sign of your age. I stood at the window the other day and I thought, well, at least it's good for the lawn.
Oh, you're getting old now, darling.
I am. First time I've ever thought that. But anyway, hopefully we are set for a good weekend. I think we are.
You'll be getting excited looking at washing machines next and all that sort of thing.
That'll be the next
I'm really excited about getting a new dishwasher.
Are you?
Yeah.
No, I'm still on my car.
Yeah, I'm not buying you that. I'm not buying you that. Here's Honor.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello there, good morning. Welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office. After some thunderstorms yesterday, today is set to be a dry day with sunny spells. Feeling a lot warmer in lighter winds, though we can't rule out occasional showers, mainly across the northwest. But for most, it is set to be a dry day. We'll see some fair weather cloud build up, particularly as we head through into the afternoon, but plenty of sunny spells in between and much lighter winds, so feeling more pleasant than it did yesterday. We'll eventually see more clouds start to push into the northwest where we can't rule out some showers, but you'll be pretty unlucky if you do catch any through the bulk of the day. For many, it's going to remain dry, highs reaching between 21 to 22 degrees Celsius. As we head through into the evening, we'll start to see a return of the cloud once again across the far northwest. We'll start to really see winds begin to build here through into the evening as well. Once again, some showers eventually being replaced by longer spells of rain. Across Northern Ireland, northern parts of England, once again it should remain dry, but we'll start to see that breeze pick up as we head further into the evening. Elsewhere across England and Wales, remaining dry, and we'll see a mix of cloud and also some clear spells. Where we see those prolonged clear spells, particularly across central areas of England, parts of the southeast, we may see some isolated spots of mist and fog, but really it's all down to the winds building out into the west, more clouds, some showery outbreaks, particularly across Northern Ireland and western parts of Scotland. Northwestern parts of England could also pick up some of those showers, but under the clear skies, feeling a lot cooler and fresher to start the day as we head into the weekend. Now for most, once again, it should be a mostly dry and settled day. We'll start to see a build of higher cloud, which might just create some hazy sunny spells, some milky skies, rather than any sunny spells in particular. But once again, across Northern Ireland, parts of western Scotland, we'll see that cloud thicken up through the course of the day and we'll see some showers. And it's set to be quite a breezy day too. Otherwise, it's fairly similar temperatures to today, highs reaching 22 to 23 degrees Celsius.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Now do stay with us, still to come, as new research finds nearly a fifth of people prioritise getting fit and healthy over saving for later life. We're asking, should youngsters spend or save? It's a good question. That's next.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
It's Patrick Christie's Tonight, and here we do things differently. It's explaining the absolute madness of this, doesn't it? It's explosive. I mean, this is very good. It's lively.
850. Your government sat there short and it did nothing.
It's controversial. And the Middle East has been in turmoil since before I was born. It's everything you need to kickstart your evening. Everyone's had their Weetabix tonight. I love to see it. That's Patrick Christie's Tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
no,
isn't it?
No,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Miriam, you can't be serious. Scrapping the triple lock on state pensions? Madness.
Andrew, we just can't carry on pretending. The numbers just don't add up. We've got to be honest with people. We've got to face the facts. That's what people want.
Well, that's what you get on GB News and on Britain's Newsroom. Lively debates, lively conversation.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first, and we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pearce.
And me, Miriam Gates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m. only on GB News.
Right, it is. What time is it? 7:24, and it's time for our latest Great British giveaway, and it's a cracker because it is our biggest prize so far, worth well over £100,000.
You could win a 4-berth motorhome worth over £74,000, plus a whopping £30,000 in tax-free cash. Here are all of the details that you need.
It's our biggest, greatest Great British giveaway to date. Your chance to win a prize package worth over £104,000. You could be driving away with this brand new Benamar Primero motorhome. With thanks to Marquis Leisure, this 4-berth home from home comes complete with integrated kitchen and bathroom areas, sky view roof light, and has all the tech you'd expect from the latest 2025 model. We'll also give you an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash to make sure any adventures in your motorhome are taken in style.
For a chance to win the motorhome and cash, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. The winner will be contacted live on GB News, week commencing 10th of November. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Yeah, best of luck to you on that one. Talking about money, because that's an awful lot of money to win, isn't it? £104,000. Our big question this morning is about pensions. Should we be saving for pensions when we're young, or should we be enjoying more playtime?
Yes, because the EastEnders star Ross Kemp is urging people to pay attention to their pensions. It's a new campaign, as research shows nearly a fifth of people prioritise getting fit and healthy over saving for later life.
It's a scary picture of Ross Kemp outside Walford East Station, isn't it, from back in the day? Dearie me. Put the fear of God into you. But should the youth be prioritising the present, or should they be ceding current enjoyment to focus on being financially safe for their middle ages?
Oh, I feel like we're in a crossover episode. Ross Kemp and financial expert. Joining us to discuss this is political commentator for Young Voices UK, Jack Rowlett, and head teacher Christine Cunniff. Morning to you both. Jack, let's start with you. Should young people be prioritising their pension pot, or should they be out having fun and paying for experiences instead?
Well, I think we need to remember the context in which we're having this debate. Over the last few decades, the British dream, if you like, has been kicked away. The idea that if you work hard, get a good education, save money, that you can buy a house, have kids, go on holiday once a year. That reality just isn't really there for young people today anymore. The average house costs 9 times the average income. The average private renter spends 40% of their income supporting a landlord. So I think the context for this is that young people are looking at that world and thinking, well, if I save all my money, I'm probably not going to be able to see those benefits anyway, so I might as well live for today. And I think it's also important to remember that a lot of the things that young people are sort of accused of being profligate in spending their money on, these sort of so-called luxuries, actually just don't fit that category anymore. You look at consumer electronics, for example, they've fallen in cost by about 80% over the last 30 years. Clothing is down by 40% in real terms, and toys and hobby goods by about 30%. So I think we live in an economy now where the essentials are increasingly expensive and unobtainable, but luxuries and the things that, might have once been seen to represent the sort of good life are increasingly cheap.
Right, but that's basically saying, Jack, isn't it? Well, we can't afford what we want, which is a house, so we're not even going to bother to try to save for that. We're going to spend our money and not worry about the fact we're going to be living in poverty when we're older. I mean, it has no common sense to it whatsoever.
Well, I think the thing is that young people are looking at the current system and thinking, well, even if I do save all my money, I'm still not going to be able to afford a house. So what's the point in trying?
But you might have a happy retirement.
Well, when you look at how profligate the state is being at the moment, national debt is at nearly 100% of GDP. We're not building anywhere near enough houses. We're not building anywhere near enough energy infrastructure, and we're importing hundreds of thousands of people every year. So the situation is just going to get worse and worse and worse. You might as well enjoy some of your life by spending your money today and having a good time, rather than putting it all to one side, not being able to afford those benefits in the future, and living your entire life in misery.
Christine, what do you think?
Oh, well, to start with, I've got 3 kids in their 20s, so I completely get where this argument is. But I can tell you, as somebody approaching a certain age, the retirement is probably looming in a couple of years, and you have to prepare for it. No matter what your age, you have to prepare, because society doesn't owe you anything, and you're going to be wanting money to live when you're older. You can live and enjoy your life. You can have a gym membership, or you can go out for a run and do some sit-ups and press-ups in your living room. You don't have to have expensive gym memberships. You can enjoy your life. I enjoyed my life. And I probably didn't start planning as early as I should have done, because we're not teaching children either about this in school. So we should be teaching them about pensions, and that even but putting a little bit away and investing that through your life, you would probably hardly notice it at your age. But by the time you're mine, you will. And you won't be relying on anybody else to have a happy retirement.
I don't know about you, Christine. I certainly get the impression that people, especially when they're starting out in a career or approaching a career, they don't realise that in actually not that very long, in 30 years, they'll be thinking, when can I stop working? I'm looking forward to stopping now, and they're just not going to be able to.
Yeah, and the thing is, I often say to my parents, enjoy your children's childhood, because you blink and they grow up. Now, I can tell you as an adult, my adult life, I blinked and I grew up to nearly retirement age. It goes by so quickly. When you're young, you don't realise that, but it does. And you have to plan ahead and think what it's going to be like for you, because if you're used to having these luxuries, if you're used to having and enjoying this life, what have you got to look forward to in your old age? And we as a population will be living to 100 plus in the future. And we have to be able to support our people for the future. Where's that money going to come from? You have to contribute.
Jack?
Well, young people contribute an enormous amount in tax. They're graduating and working in an economy where the tax burden has never been higher.
Yeah, but that doesn't, forgive me, Jack, but that doesn't pay for your pension. I mean, state pensions aren't going to be around for much longer. That's pretty clear. You're going to have to invest in a private pension. Forget about your tax.
Well, I think the reality is that today's young people are going to be working for much longer than previous generations, and that's as a result of fiscal decisions that are being made by the government now. They are jacking up the national debt to pay for the consequences of importing hundreds of thousands of people, not building enough, and spending a huge amount on benefits for pensioners today. And it's young people who are going to be saddled with that debt for life. I think, look, I get the idea that you have to plan for the future. It's something that I do, but I think we do have to have some sympathy with all of these young people who are spending money today because they just want to enjoy some of their life. They're looking at
It's not about having sympathy. We can all sympathise, but I have to say, from someone who is now in their 50s and looking back at what I did when I was your age and younger, we went out, we had a good time, we spent money, but not on the extravagant things which young people seem to be spending now. These fancy holidays all the time, the posh nights out. They seem to spend money in a way which we never did.
And Stephen, in the
reality is that those things are much cheaper.
As well.
Sorry, Jack, you respond first to that. Go on.
So I was just going to say that those things that you mentioned, those are much cheaper than they used to be. So actually, as a proportion of average income, young people today don't spend much more on those luxuries than previous generations did. It's just that those things have come down in price so much over the last 30 to 40 years.
Christine, last word to you.
I just remember the 80s when my parents were paying 15% on their mortgage. We had happy lives and we had things that we wanted, and it didn't have to cost a lot. But the one thing my parents instilled, and I instilled in my own children, is put some away, because one day you'll want something like that camper van we've just seen and go and enjoy your life.
Yeah.
Good point.
All right, you two, appreciate that. Thank you very much indeed. It's an interesting one, isn't it? I mean, Steve says final salary pensions are gone, which makes it so much harder to have a decent pension when retiring. Well, it does. Those gold-plated pensions aren't around anymore. But
Very rare.
You've got to get your money put away.
Alison makes the point that care home fees will take it all anyway.
Well, I think that's a very sore point, isn't it?
Yeah.
Henry says it was not easy for older people to buy a house. I'm sick of people giving the impression that we had it easy.
Yeah, it is almost impossible now, though. I mean, 9 times the average salary is the average price of a house now. Ava says, I've worked and saved all my life. I tried to do things to protect my pension. Would I do it again? Absolutely not. By the time this government have finished with me, I will have half of what I worked for. Never again. So my advice is go out and enjoy yourself.
Yeah, well, I get it. I do get it. But I just think you've got to take a long-term view.
Got to be sensible.
If you spend it all now, well, as my dad always says, you can only spend it once. And if you've spent it, you've spent it. And what are you going to do when you get to 60 and you think, oh, I wish I was retiring now?
Yeah.
I'm going to have to keep going for another 20 years.
No, it's not what you want, is it?
It's not really.
gbnews.com/you'll say. Keep those views coming in.
Right, still to come, Floyd Mayweather and Mike Tyson have agreed to an exhibition fight next year. That'd be something to see. Aidan's got all the details in a moment.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Good morning. This is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. On the roads today, the A5 southbound between Nuneaton and Hinckley is experiencing congestion, causing additional travel time of 10 minutes. Essex roads are seeing challenges too, with a vehicle fire along the A120 westbound causing partial lane closures. Drivers should remain cautious as these incidents might affect your commute this morning. Moving to the trains, the Gatwick Express currently has no service, and the London North Western Railway has reduced service between Bletchley and Bedford. Stay informed by keeping up with our updates, and for more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's political podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's political podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience, because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions, but every Friday night at 9 p.m. you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
no,
isn't it?
No,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes and Kerr weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact is Trump made a good start. No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Should I let it go?
Now, it's time to go for the latest sports news. Lady McGee, who's here with us. Morning.
Lady McGee?
Aidan McGee.
Been called worse.
Aidan
Do you know what?
McGee.
I think I'm going deaf.
I think you might be,
I've reached that point now where I think...
If you want to turn me into a lady, don't think it's Nadia backwards.
It is, yeah.
Don't forget that.
Anyway, look, don't say any of that in front of Mike Tyson.
Certainly not. Look, he announced last night, I wasn't expecting this one, that he's going to be fighting in one of these exhibition bouts against another boxing legend, Floyd Mayweather. He's been voted the fighter of the century with good reasons as well. I mean, he hasn't fought since August 2017, that fight against Conor McGregor, which was also an exhibition match, but 50 fights this guy's had, 0 defeats. Now, my only concern is that, well, we should say, first of all, we think it's going to be in spring 2026. The specific date is unknown. The venue is unknown. We think it'll be in the States, but possibly even in Saudi. And the purse, crucially, is unknown. How much are these two guys getting for this? Hopefully that will all come out.
It'd be massive, because, I mean, who wouldn't tune in for this?
Well, yeah, exactly, because, I mean, surprisingly, and lots of boxing purists don't like it, but how many viewers do you think Mike Tyson achieved against Jake Paul last November? Worldwide?
Don't know. Millions?
Millions and millions.
108 million.
Oh, wow.
Extraordinary. It was broadcast on Netflix and other platforms. I mean, I was one of the ones who was saying that I'm not really keen on this, but tell you what, we were out the back there in the morning. I was reporting on it, but loads of people were interested in it. They wanted to see what shape Mike Tyson was in. And I think they would have been disappointed that day because he loped around the ring a little bit. I felt that some of the fight looks a little bit choreographed in order to protect him. I mean, the physical conditioning of the two was a major differential, as well as the age, don't forget. But he's 59 years old. Mayweather is 49. Tyson said last night, I still can't believe that Floyd wants to do this, but he wants to do it. It's signed and it's happening. So we await the details in due course. I think we'll hear more details this side of Christmas. But I don't know. I just wonder, Stephen, whether it's a good spectacle. It might be, but I just wonder whether someone's going to get hurt. Not in this one necessarily, but in one of these exhibition fights.
If they want to do it. They want to do it, it's up to them.
What's your thought? Do you think
it's always money, isn't it? Always comes down to money. But I get what you're saying about their welfare.
Well, Tyson earned a fortune in his career, in his early period of his career. In fact, he once wanted to give up fighting because he was earning too much money. That was his quote. And don't hear that often coming out of a sportsman's mouth. But nonetheless, he seems to have fallen on hard times in that period since. He had a period in jail, but this is a good way of replenishing his stocks. There's no doubt about that, because even if I would have thought he'll be on half. It'll be a 50-50 split minimum, possibly Tyson getting even more. So we await details on that.
Yeah. All right, lovely. Let's have a quick look at... What should we look? We've got time for one more. What do you want to do?
Let's do Northern Ireland last night, because they had a good win against Luxembourg. I'll just wrap up some of the football. Wales won in Kazakhstan. We've got Scotland in action tonight. England tomorrow, of course, and Republic of Ireland in action against Hungary on Saturday. So a big weekend of World Cup qualifiers. I don't expect England to have any problems against Andorra. It'll be a chance to look at a few different players, but I think we're hearing from Thomas Tuchel later today.
Oh, are we? That'll be interesting. All right, Aidan, thank you very much indeed.
Now, still to come, is it a postcode lottery to get access to weight loss jabs?
Talk about that in the papers in just a moment. First, though, if you fancy a bit of holiday sun, here's the forecast for the European destinations.
Can't wait to get in that sea.
Lovely and warm.
Just like the feeling of having great travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations forecast.
Low pressure to the west of the UK may drag in some breezy conditions around coasts of Portugal. Otherwise, it's mostly fine and settled across much of Europe. Here's this area of low pressure bringing in those breezy conditions around coasts of western Portugal, northwestern parts of Spain, potentially bringing in some cloud, perhaps some light outbreaks of rain later into the day. But as we move our way eastwards across the Mediterranean, we can see it's mostly dry, settled, plenty of sunshine. That theme continues over the weekend, along with the warm sunshine.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations forecast.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Good afternoon, Britain. Weekdays from midday.
There's estimated to be 1.5 million people in Britain on these jabs. So, therefore, if everybody in the UK turns out to be skinny, what is that going to do for those who decide they don't want to take this jab?
Well, I think people start looking for somebody else to blame or for somebody else to attack. People have always attacked me for being a big man and for being fat. But now I'm losing weight and I've gone the other way around. I've lost 7.5 stone. It seems to be people are now attacking me for taking the easy way out. I mean, there truly is no winning. I mean, we should be appreciating that we've got a drug that seems to be dealing with a serious issue and helping a lot of people to improve their lives. And ultimately, it's going to reduce the cost on the NHS of what it's going to cost, you know, so we should be looking at the positives here rather than the negatives, because a lot of people seem to be attacking people for taking the drug. Ozempic and Mounjaro have been a lifesaver for a lot of people, so I'm in full support of anybody that needs it to take it and, you know, lose some weight and better their life. Why not?
But I think what this academic is suggesting is that some people who choose not to take these drugs, and of course lots of people don't want to be pumping chemicals into their body for whatever reason, even if there are no sort of terrible side effects, people who choose not to take the drug will have more of a sort of stigma. They'll be judged more and they'll feel pressure to take a drug just because of the social norms, if you like.
I can get where you're coming from. I mean, look, nobody should be judged in the first instance. It shouldn't be an issue to start with. You know, to try and get people to stop judging people in general is something that's going to be, you know, unachievable. But ultimately, nobody should be, you know, attacked or told off for trying to lose weight the natural way. If anything, fair play to them. You know, they're trying to do it themselves without the need and assist of something like Mounjaro or Ozempic.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Miriam, you can't be serious. Scrapping the triple lock on state pensions? Madness.
Andrew, we just can't carry on pretending. The numbers just don't add up. We've got to be honest with people. We've got to face the facts. That's what people want.
Well, that's what you get on GB News and on Britain's Newsroom. Lively debates, lively conversation.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first, and we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pearce.
And me, Miriam Gates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
7:46, let's see what's in the papers with our senior political commentator, Mr. Nigel Nelson, and former Conservative advisor, Ms. Claire Pearsall. Good morning to you both.
Good morning.
Very good to see you. Let's start, Nigel, with this. It's the asylum seeker case. The one that it caused all the angst in Epping when this asylum seeker was arrested. He has now been convicted of sexually assaulting a 14-year-old girl just over a week after coming to the country.
Yes, that's right. And so he's still awaiting sentence, so we'll have to see what that is. A lot of calls now for him to be deported back to his home country.
Well, absolutely should. I mean, it'd be a disgrace if he wasn't.
Yeah, I think that. I actually think that's right. But obviously, it will depend on the sentence he gets. That he'll need to have a 12-month sentence to actually qualify for deportation.
Yeah.
But bear in mind also that
actually this was heard at a magistrate's court though as well, wasn't it?
Yes,
can they give a 12-month sentence?
I think they have a maximum sentencing level at magistrates level
of 12 months.
Of 12 months. But I believe, and please don't think I'm the world's expert on this, that you can refer it. If you believe as a district judge or a magistrate that this is not enough of a sentence, you can ask for it to be sentenced at the Crown Court instead, where heftier sentences can be levied.
Well, they may very well do that.
And they may do that. But the whole thing is that at the moment, the government are changing the rules on this anyway. So the idea would be, I think that the new rule comes in that you serve 30% of your sentence here and then you get sent home. The idea is to send them home directly on conviction. Now, it might be a bit too late for this guy, but what it would mean is as soon as that law is passed, he could be sent back to Ethiopia.
Yeah, well...
And you really hope that for the victim that justice is actually done and a hefty sentence is handed down and the person is removed from the country. I don't think that anybody would suggest that there should be leniency shown.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
I'm so surprised when I see people calling for that, and you just think, but a crime like this against a 14-year-old child, absolutely not. That person needs to go, and I don't particularly care where they come from at that point. You commit that crime in this country, you should leave.
Yeah.
Claire, let's look at something totally different, shall we, in the Daily Mail this morning. The postcode lottery for fat jabs on the NHS.
I mean, this was always inevitable. The success of these fat-busting drugs and the difference it has made to an awful lot of people in the weight loss process. The NHS has realised it's going to cost them a lot of money to service. Now, you can balance the argument out by saying if you pay a lot now to give these jabs to people, you would save money on the health concerns as they continue through their life. But it's going to be a massive postcode lottery, pretty much like everything on the NHS. Whenever there is a treatment that works, you get this inevitable problem of areas not having enough money to service it. And this is why the NHS is meant to serve everybody, and it's one of those real irritations that suddenly it's something that should be open to everybody, but now it depends which area and how much money your trust has in able to buy these things.
I mean, it isn't a national health service.
No, it's not, and that's the problem. I mean, I do think that actually Nigel Farage of Reform is the one policy I've got some sympathy with, that Reform will put forward, the idea of reorganising the NHS. It's not sustainable in its present form in the long term. And it is things like this that show what the problem is, that you've got to think about it, basically a new way of funding it.
Yeah, because I mean, you say it'll save money in the long run.
Yeah.
No one's looking long term at the moment, are they?
No, I mean, to give you sort of an example, in Coventry and Warwickshire, they've got funding for 376 patients, but they've got 795 eligible people. So who's going to make the decision as to who is going to be the most worthy to get it? It's the wrong way round to look at this. It really is.
And actually, there's the eligibility on that. It's not even just being
quite
overweight,
hard.
is it? It's quite hard
you have to have other conditions along with it.
Yeah, something like 90% of people on weight loss jabs are buying it privately. So it's really strict.
It's very, very strict.
Get it on the NHS,
Nigel, you mentioned, obviously, your liking of a reform policy.
A reform policy,
You
yes.
never know. There may be more this weekend that appeal to...
There may, yes.
But Nigel Farage says we could be facing a general election for 2027. He wants to be geared up by then.
Yes, I think it's unlikely.
It is unlikely, but actually, at least
it's possible. It is possible, but unlikely. And I would have thought that from Nigel Farage's point of view, he'd want an election later rather than sooner. He's got to actually get policies in place that work, and the majority of them quite simply don't. He's got to get a group of people around that look like a future government, which we talked about earlier. And his big problem is going to be convincing the electorate that actually that reform would be fit to govern and manage the economy. So there was a really interesting YouGov poll that came out yesterday, and normally people are asked how would they vote, and so Reform is doing really well when you ask that question. In this particular question, they said, which would you prefer, a second-term Keir Starmer Labour government or a first-term Reform government? The answers came back that more people wanted to stick with Labour than go with Reform. I was quite surprised about the reaction. And I think that they're thinking in terms of, can this party actually run the country?
Yeah, but this is why I think the talk of 2027 is quite interesting, because if he can get that, what you talk about, in position for 2027, knowing it's unlikely there'll be an election then, he's then got 2 years to actually cement that in place.
And I think that's really important for any party, is as soon as you finish one election, you should be preparing for the next one. And I think that we've become a bit lackadaisical in this country politically in just assuming that these people will be in power for 5 years. But as we've seen over the last 5 or 6 years, that doesn't happen. We've had elections more frequently than I can ever imagine, but parties do need to have people in place, so you need to have candidates vetted and ready to go, you need to have policies ready, and more importantly, you need to raise the funds. And I think that aiming for 2027 is absolutely fine to do, and as you say, it may then give you another 2 years breathing space to fine-tune any kind of policies and get the money and get the people in place. So I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think it is unlikely that there will be.
That's where the Tories have gone wrong this time round, haven't they? in that we're getting policies eked out now in Kemi-Badenoch, which is...
Yeah, and I mean, I disagree with this. I think that you can't wait and say, well, we want to have a proper think about it and put our policies out, because you've got local elections coming up and people don't know what you stand for.
OK, Claire, Nigel, thank you very much. We'll see you in the next hour. Let's get a check now on the weather.
Today, clouds overhead, total zen within. Boxed Solar sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello there, good morning. Welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office. After some thunderstorms yesterday, today is set to be a dry day with sunny spells. Feeling a lot warmer in lighter winds, though we can't rule out occasional showers, mainly across the northwest. But for most, it is set to be a dry day. We'll see some fair weather cloud build up, particularly as we head through into the afternoon, but plenty of sunny spells in between and much lighter winds, so feeling more pleasant than it did yesterday. We'll eventually see more clouds start to push into the northwest, where we can't rule out some showers, but you'll be pretty unlucky if you do catch any through the bulk of the day. For many, it's going to remain dry, highs reaching between 21 to 22 degrees Celsius. As we head through into the evening, we'll start to see a return of the cloud once again across the far northwest. We'll start to really see winds begin to build here through into the evening as well. Once again, some showers eventually being replaced by longer spells of rain. Across Northern Ireland, northern parts of England, once again, it should remain dry, but we'll start to see that breeze pick up as we head further into the evening. Elsewhere across England and Wales, remaining dry, and we'll see a mix of cloud and also some clear spells. Where we see those prolonged clear spells, particularly across central areas of England, parts of the southeast, we may see some isolated spots of mist and fog, but really it's all down to the winds building out into the west, more clouds, some showery outbreaks, particularly across Northern Ireland and western parts of Scotland. Northwestern parts of England could also pick up some of those showers, but under the clear skies, feeling a lot cooler and fresher to start the day as we head into the weekend. Now, for most, once again, it should be a mostly dry and settled day. We'll start to see a build of higher cloud, which might just create some hazy sunny spells, some milky skies, rather than any sunny spells in particular. But once again, across Northern Ireland, parts of western Scotland, we'll see that cloud thicken up through the course of the day, and we'll see some showers. And it's set to be quite a breezy day too. Otherwise, it's fairly similar temperatures to today, highs reaching 22 to 23 degrees Celsius.
Today, clouds overhead, total zen within. Boxed Solar sponsors the weather on GB News.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Good morning. This is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. Motorists on the M1 southbound within junction 11A should be prepared for significant delays due to a multi-vehicle accident in that area. In Kirklees, there's been a road traffic collision on the M62 eastbound between junction 26 and junction 27, which has resulted in the closure of one of the 4 lanes. Fortunately, normal traffic conditions are anticipated shortly ahead. On the trains, the Gatwick Express reports no service at all today, while the London North Western Railway is experiencing reduced services on the line between Bletchley and Bedford. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
It's our biggest Great British giveaway to date. You could be driving away with this brand new Benamar Primera motorhome. This 4-berth home from home comes complete with integrated kitchen and bathroom areas and has all of the tech you'd expect from the latest 2025 model. We'll also give you an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash to make sure that any adventures you take in your new motorhome are taken in style. For a chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrants must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There, you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/your say, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, you didn't say that, though.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
In the GB newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Good morning. Angela Rayner's tax row intensifies.
The lawyers used by the Deputy Prime Minister to purchase her £800,000 flat in Hove now claim they did not give her tax advice and that they have been made scapegoats.
Well, Rayner's team insists there was no wrongdoing, but the revelation has sparked more scrutiny and raised questions about how long she can stay in position.
Nadine Dorries defects to Reform UK. The former Boris Johnson loyalist brands the Tory party dead as she jumps ship.
I support a merger with a party that is fiscally irresponsible and would do things with our economy that would take this country into a very dark place.
The Shadow Chancellor, Mel Stride, tells our political editor he has no faith in reform.
Well, it comes as Nigel Farage's party kick off their annual conference in Birmingham today.
Well, here in Birmingham, Reform delighted to have poached Nadine Dorries from the Tories, also saying they must prepare to be ready for government by 2027. But with the decision on Angela Rayner's coming today on her tax affairs, potentially by Sir Laurie Magnus, could the Reform Conference be overshadowed by big news in Labour?
Making it rain, the Prince and Princess of Wales join young people at a very wet Natural History Museum to learn about wildlife.
And as new research finds nearly a fifth of people prioritise getting fit and healthy over saving for later life, we've been asking this morning, should youngsters spend or save?
Daniel Levy stands down as Tottenham chairman with immediate effect. But was the decision taken out of his hands? We'll have reaction as well as a look back on his 24-year reign and ask what is next for the North London club.
Hello there, good morning. After some heavy thunderstorms yesterday, today is set to be much drier, brighter, and with the return of some sunshine. Stay tuned and I'll be here with all the details.
It's just gone 8 o'clock. I'm Stephen Dixon.
I'm Ellie Costello, and this is GB News Breakfast.
Right, let's crack on straight away with some politics for you this morning, should we? Because we're joined by the Deputy Chairman of the Conservative Party, Matt Vickers. It's lovely to see you this morning. Thank you very much indeed, Matt. The Tory party is dead, according to Nadine Dorries, one of your very own.
Well, do you know what? I'm not going to criticise Nadine. She's a friend of mine. You know, people will make their own mistake, make their own decisions, and they'll make their own decisions about whether this was a surprise or not. I wish her well. Yeah, we're not going to get distracted by this. We're going to get on with the job of scrutinising what is going on with this hypocritical government and some of the news that we've seen today.
But hold on a minute. You can't sort of sweep it under the carpet like that. If someone who's been sort of front and centre of the government, biggest supporter of Boris Johnson out there, and someone who says the party is dead, you can't just focus, can you, on the government. You have to look at who you're going to be facing in the next election, and Reform are the big threat to you.
Well, as I've said, Nadine's a friend of mine. I'm not going to get into some tit for tat and criticising her. You know, she's made that decision. I wish her well with it. But actually, the Conservative Party can't be dead. It's going to be needed after the next election to pick up the mess that's being made of our economy. We've seen 14% more people out of work. That happens every time Labour are in office. Unemployment goes through the roof. More people, every time Labour have been in power, more people are left out of work than when they arrived. And every time it's the job of the Conservatives to go out there, work with business, support them in creating the jobs that keep this country going. We're going to have to do exactly the same. Inflation has virtually doubled. Labour promised us energy prices would go down by 300 quid. They've gone up by nearly 200 quid. The Conservative Party can't be dead. This country needs the Conservative Party to sort our economy and pick up the pieces when this Labour government have trashed this country.
What do you say then to the criticism that she's levelled against your party? She says if only the Conservative Party had behaved more like Conservatives when we were in power, we wouldn't be in this mess. She says that her core values, her core beliefs have never changed. She says it's the Conservative Party that has changed. Have you lost your way?
Well, what particular issues do you think she might be talking about? Might it be net zero? I think she was a supporter of net zero. In fact, there was lots of criticism about that online safety bill that she offered. But do you know what? I'm not going to go after Nadine and criticise what she might think of the party or what she might not think. I wish her well. Yeah.
I mean, look, but that's... I'm fascinated by it, Matt, because I get, former colleague, someone you know, you don't want to personally attack her. We understand that, absolutely, it's fair enough, right? But the point is, what she is doing is she's highlighting what a lot of people, including a lot of former Conservative voters, are thinking. And so that, you can't ignore that. And I mean, to your other point of saying, well, the Conservative Party can't be dead because they'll be needed to pick up the pieces, well, the problem is there's a lot of voters out there now saying, actually, we want reform to pick up the pieces.
One of the things that's going to have to happen, we've seen what's happening to our economy. I think it's actually understated how much trouble our economy is in. This government is taxing to death anybody who wants to create economic growth or create jobs. 14% more people on the scrap heap, unable to provide for their families, unable to live out their dreams, aspirations and ambitions. The reform aren't going to sort that out for you. They want to see even more spent on benefits. They're not willing to make the tough decisions on welfare reform that we're going to make. They're not on the side of those people who are worried about where their money goes, who want to see that reduction in tax, who want to see it spent properly on the things that matter, want to see those jobs created so that people can get on in life. That's the offer that we're making to the British people. You're about to see our conference where we've been making our pitch on that front. But we've got real solutions. And actually this week, this story, it was the Conservatives who exposed this utter hypocrisy in the government. It's Kevin Hollinrake who was asking the questions about these tax affairs, who raised this issue that we've seen our own Deputy Prime Minister not paying the taxes that she was due to pay. The woman who is in charge of housing in this country was not contributing what she should do. And actually, we saw what Keir Starmer said about it. He said anybody under him who doesn't pay the taxes, who doesn't pay their dues, should not be allowed to look after public money. Rank hypocrisy. This government is in a terrible place, whether it be the homeless minister resigning because she was making people homeless, whether it be that anti-corruption minister who had to resign after a corruption probe. It's going all the wrong way. It's an utter disaster. The Conservative Party will continue to hold these people to account and will put forward a huge vision as we go forwards into our party conference.
Well, you know that Sir Laurie Magnus is currently looking at the situation with Angela Rayner. We are expecting that report back today. Also, the Prime Minister has not ruled out sacking Angela Rayner if she has broken the ministerial code, so we can perhaps expect a decision on that today. Can I ask you, though, back to Nadine Dorries, I mean, being one of the biggest cheerleaders of Boris Johnson, does this open the door? Is this the early stages, perhaps, of a merger between the Tories and Reform?
So Boris, it wasn't his line that Kemi has lots of zip-zap. He's fully 100% behind Kemi. He's fully behind the fact that this Conservative Party has a huge part to play in the future of this country.
Yeah, so is there a merger to come between you two?
That's not on the cards. That's not where we're at. We're putting forward our vision for the country. We're going to be on the side of those hard-working people who do the right thing, who get up and graft all day, those people who want to find jobs and get on in life in this country. The Conservative Party's always been there. It'll always be there doing exactly that.
In terms of the big problems facing this country, the big concerns that people are worried about, I mean, obviously we know migration is right at the top of the list. Should we be looking at net emigration, which is what Robert Jenrick has called for the Tories to commit to for a decade, should they get into power? Suella Braverman, former Home Secretary, has backed that, said that would be the right move forward. What do you think?
I think, you know what? Immigration has been way too high into this country for way too long. I back Robert's position. I think it's right. We need to toughen up the system. If people come to this country, then, if you bring someone to this country, you should be able to afford to pay for them. Labour scrapped the idea that we should have a £38,000 threshold, meaning more people are entering legally. Illegally, it's completely out of control. We're at record levels. More people entering this country than ever before. And it's not up just a little bit. It's up more than 40%. We can't continue like that. We can't sustain that. We need to sort it out, and we need to ensure that the British taxpayers put first in all these situations.
But what fascinates me with that is you just said you back Robert Jenrick's position. Well, Robert Jenrick's being more of a leader than Kemi Badenoch, isn't he? I mean, he's the one making the headlines. He's the one coming out with these ideas, whether some people view them as radical or not. He's coming out with the ideas. Whether Braverman's backing him, you're backing him. Why isn't Kemi doing that?
Well, one of the things that people criticise a certain other party, I'm not mentioning them by name again, a certain other parties about the fact they're a one-man band. We have a team at the top, ready to deliver, punching on all fronts to ensure that we're ready for government, that we're making the case, we're scrutinising this government properly, and we're ready to deliver whenever the British people next feel able to give us that chance. When we've won back that trust, we're going to sort this immigration crisis out. We're going to sort the economy out. And by God, by the time of the next election, it is going to be such a mess if the current incumbent continues in the way they are.
I know you just said that you're a team there, but do you have the right leader in place? I mean, there's been criticism from Conservative MPs about Kemi Badenoch's performance at PMQs this week, that she wasn't holding the government to account, that she used only one of her 6 questions to raise the issue of Angela Rayner, and then she went back onto her pre-prepared questions about the economy. She didn't seize the opportunity to really go for it on Angela Rayner. Some suggestion in the papers by analysts that perhaps if she had, then this wouldn't still be lingering on.
Well, I'm right behind Kemi. Robert Jenrick is right behind Kemi. Boris Johnson reckons she's got lots of zip-zap, and he's right behind Kemi. And do you know what? You know those economic issues that Kemi was raising at PMQs? They actually have huge consequences for the lives of people across this country, whether that be inflation doubling, whether that be the energy bills that Labour said they were going to cut by 300 quid that are actually gone up by 200 quid. Those economic issues are having huge impacts on the lives of people across this country. And it's right that at every turn, we're going to be holding Labour to account for what they're doing on the economy.
Matt Vickers, as always, it's good to see you. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
It's fascinating, isn't it?
Oh, it is. He's always very generous at this time, Matt, because we will say that, won't we?
Yeah, I mean, but it's... I do wonder with the... I mean, certainly with that Robert Jenrick issue, I don't know, I was very surprised when he said, yeah, I support Robert Jenrick on that. Yeah? Because it's something which hasn't been brought up by the leadership. It's been brought up by Robert Jenrick. Yeah. He's pushing ahead. He's doing the job of a leader, perhaps, for the Conservative Party in the way we don't see from Kemi Badenoch.
Well, he certainly gets the most traction online, doesn't he, in the shadow cabinet? I mean, he's always going viral for the videos that he does. It would be fascinating if that becomes official Tory policy, having come from Robert Jenrick.
Yeah, it would. It would. Anyway, let us know what you think. gbnews.com/yoursay. We're going to be talking to Zia Yusuf from Reform in a couple of minutes, just ahead of the beginning of their party conference in Birmingham. But first, let's have a look at the weather.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello there, good morning. Welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office. After some thunderstorms yesterday, today is set to be a dry day with sunny spells. Feeling a lot warmer in lighter winds, though we can't rule out occasional showers, mainly across the northwest. But for most, it is set to be a dry day. We'll see some fair weather cloud build up, particularly as we head through into the afternoon, but plenty of sunny spells in between and much lighter winds, so feeling more pleasant than it did yesterday. We'll eventually see more clouds start to push into the northwest, where we can't rule out some showers, but you'll be pretty unlucky if you do catch any through the bulk of the day. For many, it's going to remain dry, highs reaching between 21 to 22 degrees Celsius. As we head through into the evening, we'll start to see a return of the cloud once again across the far northwest. We'll start to really see winds begin to build here through into the evening as well. Once again, some showers eventually being replaced by longer spells of rain. Across Northern Ireland, northern parts of England, once again, it should remain dry, but we'll start to see that breeze pick up as we head further into the evening. Elsewhere across England and Wales, remaining dry, and we'll see a mix of cloud and also some clear spells. Where we see those prolonged clear spells, particularly across central areas of England, parts of the southeast, we may see some isolated spots of mist and fog, but really it's all down to the winds building out into the west, more clouds, some showery outbreaks, particularly across Northern Ireland and western parts of Scotland. Northwestern parts of England could also pick up some of those showers, but under the clear skies, feeling a lot cooler and fresher to start the day as we head into the weekend. Now, for most, once again, it should be a mostly dry and settled day. We'll start to see a build of higher cloud, which might just create some hazy sunny spells, some milky skies, rather than any sunny spells in particular. But once again, across Northern Ireland, parts of western Scotland, we'll see that cloud thicken up through the course of the day, and we'll see some showers. And it's set to be quite a breezy day too. Otherwise, it's fairly similar temperatures to today, highs reaching 22 to 23 degrees Celsius.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Well, let's head to Birmingham now and speak to Head of Doge at Reform UK, Zia Yusuf. Good to see you this morning, Mr. Yusuf.
Good morning.
Morning. Can I start by asking about the big news in Birmingham? I'm sure Nadine Dorries quitting the Tories after 30 years to join Reform UK. I'm just wondering, would you see her as a gain to your party for Reform? What's she going to bring to the party? Because our viewers aren't so sure. Robert's been in touch saying, who cares about Nadine Dorries? She's not an MP, she's not a minister, she's not even a shadow minister. At 68, she doesn't have much future in politics. Another one saying, not a good move for Reform, in my opinion. Ex-Conservative, stale and boring. I wanted a fresh, clean, new party. What do you say to that?
Look, what I say is that people have that view, go and listen to what Nadine has said since it was announced that she was joining Reform. She said the Tory party is dead. The Tory party is dead and they need to wake up. People who are still potentially minded to vote Tory, there aren't many of those left, but there are some, need to, and I quote, wake up and smell the coffee. So look, we're glad to welcome Nadine. And look, we've also gathered lots of support from people who didn't even vote in the last general election. We've gathered a lot of support, of course, from Labour. Remember that seat in Runcorn and Helsby was one of Labour's safest seats. That wasn't a Tory stronghold, it was a Labour stronghold that Sarah Pochin brilliantly broke through and won that seat. So Reform is attracting people from across the political spectrum who frankly feel disillusioned about the state of the country, and we offer something totally new, and there is nowhere manifesting that more than here in Birmingham, with thousands and thousands of patriots from across the country coming to join us. We couldn't be more excited.
Yeah, but what you are doing is offering people what they want to hear. All right, and you can see how that appeals to people, absolutely. The problem you've got, and which still hasn't been outlined, is how you deliver on all of these promises that you're making.
But what we're doing is actually listening to voters. And I know that's quite a shocking thing for a political leader to do, but that's what Nigel has done for decades. It's why he's built a career. People know what he stands for and why the bookmakers now have him to be the next Prime Minister. And he's the highest favourability ratings of any political leader in the country. So yes, we do listen to voters. In terms of plans, look, we put out a plan for how we would deport illegal migrants in this country, Operation Restoring Justice. We announced it a short while ago, and that level of detail years before a general election, I think is pretty extraordinary and pretty unprecedented, and you're going to get a lot more of that from us in the coming months and years.
Yeah, absolutely. But the problem with that is, and it's what a lot of commentators are saying, is right, that's a specific policy, and some people challenge what you put out anyway. But it's how that then ties in with, you know, the impact on the budget, what it would cost, what it would do to everything else, how it ties in with education, how it ties in with the NHS, how it ties in with everything else that we need to run in this country. And it's the bigger... We've got pieces of the jigsaw that you're giving us, but we're not seeing the whole picture.
Yeah, look, so the effect our deportation plan will have on the NHS was make it easier for people to get GP appointments and seen at A&E. But look, I take your point, of course. You know, we are years ahead, sadly, of a general election. There's a chance that we will get an early election than we might otherwise have had if bond markets continue to move in the way that they have because of this awful Labour Chancellor. But I will say this, you will see more and more of our plans in the coming months and years. You'll see more outstanding talent coming to the fore that Nigel will present to the British people and say that, you know, we've already said, for example, one of the big things that we'll do differently to the political establishment who have ruined this country over decades is at least half probably of Nigel's cabinet, his first cabinet, will not be MPs. They will be people who have achieved great things in the real world and will be appointed into the Lords and then will serve in that cabinet for the full term. So you wouldn't be a health secretary for 3 minutes and then a defence minister 5 minutes later. And by the way, the reason why this is important is because the British public have had enough of the likes of Rachel Reeves as Chancellor, the likes of Matt Hancock as the health secretary during the greatest health emergency since World War II. That's just one of many new ideas that reform is bringing to the table that will make Nigel the most transformative Prime Minister in our lifetimes.
But that idea will also alarm a lot of people in terms of unelected officials being in charge of departments. How does that work in our political system, in our democracy, and also in terms of holding power to account?
Yeah, so there's precedent for that. I mean, not the best precedent, because we're talking about David Cameron, for example, was brought in to be the Foreign Secretary under Rishi Sunak. He was put into the Lords. So let me be clear about a couple of things. Of course, it will be MPs. It will be MPs in the House of Commons that pass legislation. That is number one. That is obviously not going to change. Number two, Nigel will put the names. Not only is he laying out this idea, but he's also going to lay out the names of the people who will sit in that cabinet office around him if the British people choose to elect us. And that will be in front of the British people ahead of the next general election. And actually, that's much more democratic than going in with one cabinet and then reshuffling every 15 minutes with a bunch, frankly, of clueless career politicians. I keep saying this. How has it worked out having clueless? Are you happy with Ed Miliband as Chancellor? Are you happy with as Energy Secretary? Were you happy with Matt Hancock as Health Secretary? Are you happy with Rachel Reeves as Chancellor? We've got to bring the brightest and the best in the country into these roles, and many of them don't want to be MPs. I want to say this too. How does it make sense that, for example, our Defence Secretary, the Minister of Defence, is also doing constituency surgeries about the chlorine levels in the local swimming pool? That is an important local issue, but surely we can do better than ask the same person to do both of those things. It's one reason why ministers these days are not on top of their briefs, and they completely abdicate the responsibility for running their departments to these civil servants who have been captured, unfortunately, in this Blairite era. If we want to change the way this country is run, we have to have fresh ideas. That's what reform offers.
Yeah, but the problem is, I mean, one of the big things on the Brexit campaign, to take us back to the dreaded B word, we don't want to settle that row again, but it was about accountability, wasn't it? It was all about accountability. We have no accountability of those people running things in Brussels for what's happening in the UK. Well, if in effect, a huge proportion of the cabinet is actually just pushed into the House of Lords, there is no accountability. We can't vote them out. They can't answer to the House of Commons, as Secretaries of State and Ministers are meant to do at the moment. So aren't you replacing one unaccountable group of politicians in Europe with another group of unaccountable politicians in the House of Lords?
No, it actually creates more accountability. It creates more accountability because, number one, again, the House of Commons, it is MPs who will pass legislations. Cabinet ministers cannot pass legislation. That's the first point. Number two, but the British public cannot just simply choose to vote out MPs currently, sadly, otherwise they already would. If British people could initiate a general election tomorrow, my lord, they absolutely would, based on current polling. So there will absolutely be accountability, and it'll be up to the British people to assess the quality of the people Nigel is putting in front of them, which he will for his shadow cabinet ahead of the next general election, and for them to assess the work that they do. But the idea that someone who's achieved greatness in the real world in that particular domain, given a full 5-year term to run that department properly, bring in their own people and work on behalf, unapologetically and relentlessly on behalf of the British people, is not going to do a better job than, frankly, a witless, gutless career politician who knows absolutely nothing about the subject, I think is for the birds.
OK, Zia Yusuf, we're out of time with you, but thank you very much for joining us on Breakfast.
I'd love to get your views on that, gbnews.com/your say. I mean, I think part of the problem with it is that it goes against everything that we're used to.
Yeah.
And so there is a knee-jerk reaction from a lot of politicians and indeed from a lot of journalists who say, well, this isn't how it's done. Perhaps it is time for a change. Perhaps it is fresh, new thinking. But it is that that accountability issue is quite something. If you can't be accountable to the House of Commons, and what if you do a really bad job and you are, say you're in for a 5-year term?
Yeah,
I don't know. I mean,
how are you held accountable? I mean, yeah, it caused a lot of questions, a lot of alarm among some people. Also, when Zia Yusuf's talking there about being a pool of outsiders, pool of talent, yes, you'd have expertise in business, if you like, but you wouldn't have the expertise and the experience in politics, and surely that's important as well.
Maybe. Let's see what our political correspondent Catherine Forster makes of it all. She's up in Birmingham as well, of course. Catherine, what did you think of that?
Isn't it? They've only got 4 MPs and yet they are dominating the conversation because if the polls are to be believed, they may well form the next government. Now, Nigel Farage is here saying Reform have got to be ready for that general election 2 years early in 2027 because he thinks, frankly, that the economy could collapse. Well, we'll see. But I just think really interesting and very different ideas that we are getting from Reform in terms of cabinet members being experts in a field, elected to the House of Lords, but questions, as you say, about accountability. You know, all these policies that Reform are coming out with, mass deportations, they're promising all sorts of things that may sound attractive to an awful lot of people, but they are jumping on that same promise of change, aren't they, that Labour gave. Labour got that huge landslide election basically by not being the Tories, by saying, we are change, we are going to do things differently, we understand you're fed up. Now Reform are coming along, they are saying, we are the change, we are going to do things differently. We understand that you are fed up, and of course they've got no record in government yet, although they have got a few councils, so they will be being scrutinised on those.
OK, Catherine, there for us in Birmingham. Thank you very much.
I'll tell you what, it's going to be an interesting conference.
Oh, yeah.
Give you that. Right, Great British Giveaway now. Biggest prize to date, more than £104,000. Here are the details.
It's our biggest, greatest Great British giveaway to date. Your chance to win a prize package worth over £104,000. You could be driving away with this brand new Benamar Primero motorhome. With thanks to Marquis Leisure, this 4-berth home from home comes complete with integrated kitchen and bathroom areas, sky view roof lights, and has all the tech you'd expect from the latest 2025 model. We'll also give you an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash to make sure any adventures in your motorhome are taken in style.
For a chance to win the motorhome and cash, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. The winner will be contacted live on GB News, week commencing 10th of November. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Yes, good luck. Now, do stay with us. Still to come, we're asking this morning, has TV been ignoring older people? Interesting.
Don't know why you're looking at me. Cheeky
What's
devil.
your opinion?
Cheeky devil. I don't know, actually, but we're going to be talking to the star of Benidorm, Sherry Hewson, in just a moment.
Westminster, the ultimate clique. And you're fighting like rats in a sack. But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask. OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician. Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off limits.
You have the power then.
Yeah, as I
And
say,
now you've lost it. That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless. But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show. Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Good afternoon, Britain. Weekdays from midday.
And the second season of the Duchess of Sussex's lifestyle show with Love Meghan, I know you're excited, Nana.
I can't wait.
Has now been released on Netflix.
These moments of discovery and beauty. So let's be curious together. Do you know who doesn't like lobster?
Who?
My husband.
And you'll marry him?
I was lucky enough to be given a sneak peek of all 8 episodes, so I've seen the entire thing. I think if you like a cooking show, if you don't want to think much when you're watching it, the show's probably for you.
But it's lies.
If you don't like Meghan Markle, if you don't like the Duchess of Sussex and how she's got to the show, arguably her critics would clearly say that she wouldn't have been given this platform without marrying Prince Harry, etc., then you're going to hate it. I mean, Meghan clearly has a passion for it. I think the top line, actually, is the fact that she says she was unwell when she was forced to be away from her children for almost 3 weeks. And what we suspect that period was after the Queen's death in 2022. Remember, she was here with Harry, and then obviously the Queen died, so they were here for another couple of weeks.
And hasn't she flown over some chef to show her how to cook things because she doesn't really know how to do it?
Yeah, the chef who cooks for her wedding with Harry, she's been flown over into a very, very complicated halibut. And there's lots of behind-the-scenes photos of that wedding as well. So again, it's that link to the royal family that keeps
dragging the royal family
through.
back into it just to give her something to say to make her of interest. I'm just kind of bored of it all now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean,
I'm just bored of it.
I think we'll see. It'll be interesting to see how it rates, because obviously the only one that really rated well for Netflix was when they were, talking about themselves leaving the royal family, where clearly they spilled a lot of royal secrets. So that rated very well. The first season of With Love Meghan did OK, but it wasn't the most highly rated show on Netflix. We'll see what season 2 does. I mean, Meghan clearly has a passion for it. It's what she did with the Tig before she was a working member of the royal family. You're either going to love it or hate it, aren't you?
Grifting?
It's Marmite.
The People's Channel.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m. only on GB News.
Welcome back to Breakfast. Now, a quarter of Brits aged 55 and over feel left behind by today's TV. That's despite being the generation who watch it the most.
Research finds 2/3 of viewers think fondly about TV shows they watched years ago, and they miss the classics.
Well, many older viewers also feel unhappy about how their generation is portrayed, often seen as offensive, doddering and the butt of the joke in today's TV programmes.
Oh, do you agree? Should TV stop ignoring older people, bring back the shows they want, or look to the future?
Well, joining us now to bring in her perspective from stage and screen is Benidorm Sherry Houston. Wonderful to see you this morning, Sherry. Thank you so much for joining us on Breakfast. What do you make of this? Do you feel like older people feel left behind by today's TV?
Well, do you know, this is like my campaign, because I've said this for a long time, and Great TV are bringing everything back on Freeview, by the way, in Sky, that you can watch. Nostalgia is about, it's not just for old people, it's for everybody. It's to do with the love of sitting down and enjoying a show. And we loved those programmes like The Rising Damp, In Loving Memory. I was in them all. Except Dad's Army. I wasn't in Dad's Army. But I think we missed that, and I think Great TV are bringing that back. Great TV stands for action and mystery and romance, and they're a fantastic company. And I think we are missing a trick here. It says 55 plus, so we're going up 55, 65, 75, 85. Do you know what? Loneliness is one of the biggest problems in this country. My mum used to say, you've got to have a reason to get up in the morning. And if you're on your own, and don't forget, a lot of people are left on their own, women, men, even mums with lots of children who, have to, tiny ones, and they're all they need to watch something that brings them joy. And I think we pander to this young generation too much, you know, like, I mean, I'm not dissing things like Love Island and things like that, but it's not for us. And can you imagine having a Love Island at my age?
That might
be a hit. But there is stuff being made. I sort of think of Last Tango in Halifax, for example. I mean, stuff like that is hitting the mark, isn't it?
It is hitting the mark, but it's not being made now. This is my argument: is that where is that stuff? Why is it not still being made? Why do we not? I mean, those actors, wonderful, wonderful actors of a generation that we don't see because people go, oh well, you know, we need to hit the young audience. And that's not true. Who watches things like that? You know, it's an older generation that watches things like all those things that we used to watch, like Little House on the Prairie and Diagnosis Murder, and, you know, great TV is really behind it. And it's like my world. And I really believe in this. And I think it's been a long time coming. And we need to stand behind all these programs. Why can't we have them all? Why can't we watch them? I think they're joyous. Funny is funny, and they were funny in that Benidorm is bigger now than it ever was. It's on twice a day on television. The ratings are still enormous. You hear that music, and it just, it fills you with warmth and sun and Benidorm and silliness, and that's what we need. And I don't think we have it now. I don't think that's being made, and that worries me that we don't respect that time. I'm not saying it should all be, you know, nostalgia, but, you know, even at your young ages, you must love that kind of television. You know, you must love to sit down and watch that. I'm sure you do.
I'm nearly in the 55 bracket, Sherry, so I'm not far off it. But I tell you what, nothing's better than like Open All Hours or all that. Are You Being Served? All that sort of stuff.
Are You Being Served? I did the new pilot of Are You Being Served, and I played Mr. Slocum. Oh, wow. And I had those wonderful pussy lines where, you know, she's got Tiddles is trapped in the washing machine or whatever it was. And it was wonderful to do. And I enjoyed it. And the audience, we did it in front of an audience, and they all stood up at the end. And because it was such a joy to see. Well, and porridge, all of that kind of thing. And also, you just said carry-ons.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
Who doesn't like it? I did carry on behind. Believe me.
I really hope that some execs are paying some attention to you, Sherry. It's a real joy to talk to you, though. Thank you very much indeed.
Yeah, thanks, Sherry. Great to see you. And execs, if you're listening.
Yeah.
Take note.
Yeah, it'd be great. It would be great. Right, let's quickly tell you about your traffic and travel update.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Good morning, this is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. The M62 eastbound between Junction 26 and Junction 27 is currently experiencing delays due to an earlier road traffic collision. While one of the 4 lanes remains closed, expect 30-minute delays against usual traffic. Further east, Northamptonshire's A14 between the M1 Catthorpe interchange and Junction 1 Welford has a broken down vehicle causing a lane closure and subsequent delays. On the railways, there is no service on the Gatwick Express today, and London North Western Railway has a reduced service operating between Bletchley and Bedford. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk then?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact is Trump made a good start, no.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
Because
the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back,
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
and we do not shy away from the difficult stuff.
Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood.
So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
It's Patrick Christie's Tonight, and here we do things differently.
It's explaining the absolute madness of this, doesn't it?
It's explosive.
I mean, this is very good.
It's lively.
850. Your government sat there, Sean, and it did nothing.
It's controversial.
And the Middle East has been in turmoil since before I was born.
It's everything you need to kickstart your evening.
Everyone's had their Weetabix tonight. I love to see it.
That's Patrick Christie's Tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/your say. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/your say, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, you didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK, we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News, the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Aidan's here with the sport at 8:40 morning to you. Daniel Levy is out.
He is.
Spurs. After 24 years, he must have left quite a legacy.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point. I mean, Tottenham fans are divided. They would quite like to see the back of him, quite frankly. I mean, if you look at these two transfers in the summer, they should have got in the door. Morgan Gibbs-White from Nottingham Forest didn't happen. Berrieze from Crystal Palace, hijacked by Arsenal, hugely embarrassing for the club. And I wonder whether the owners, and you know, he is an owner, he's a minority shareholder, but the really big shareholders, Joe Lewis, for example, and the Lewis family, I wonder if they just thought maybe it's one or two deals too far, because those players were ready to go in the first team, they didn't get them. But you have to look at things holistically. In 24 years, he has ridden a wave. The money, the figures that go into the club now, the revenue, you know, it's not just because of Daniel Levy, it's because the overall funds available in football have gone up over the last 24 years quite substantially. But to put it in some kind of context, the matchday revenue from that stadium alone is £5 million over the course of a season. That soon adds up. And you have to say that not just the training ground in 2012, but also the stadium itself. It's a hell of a place to go to. They waited. They were criticised a little bit for not doing it when Arsenal did it in 2006, but they waited and they watched and they learned from Arsenal's mistakes and they built something better. But there was just some oddness about some of the appointments. I mean, going right back to the beginning when they sacked George Graham before an FA Cup semi-final in 2001, when they failed to back Mauricio Pochettino without signing a single player after they reached the Champions League final in 2019. They sacked Jose Mourinho 3 days before they're in the League Cup final. And if there's a man who's going to end that trophy drought, surely it was going to be him. He was dispensed with as well. I don't think all these decisions could have been Daniel Levy's, because he doesn't have as much power there. Well, his share in the club would surely be commensurate with everyone else's, and so you think that other people would be involved in the decision. So it was very mixed, but a lot of fans feel that if they can get investment in now, maybe the investors saw him as a barrier to kind of spending what they want. Maybe there might be better times ahead in terms of not just competing off the pitch, but competing on it as well.
OK.
Can I touch on the tennis just quickly? We've got Alcaraz against Djokovic, semi-final of the US Open, 8 o'clock tonight, and I'll be reporting on that tomorrow. It'll be a thrilling clash, hopefully.
OK. Good stuff. Thank you very much, Aidan. Good to see you.
Good to see you this morning.
Right, still to come, Nigella has revealed her latest cooking secret involving a popular cereal, and you don't even need a microwave. Nigel and Claire will tell us more.
Yes, but first, if you're in search of some holiday sun, here's the forecast on the top European destinations.
I hope we haven't forgotten anything.
Travel insurance, I tick that box.
Yeah, but remember what you forgot last year.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations forecast.
Low pressure to the west of the UK may drag in some breezy conditions around coasts of Portugal. Otherwise, it's mostly fine and settled across much of Europe. Here's this area of low pressure bringing in those breezy conditions around coasts of western Portugal, northwestern parts of Spain, potentially bringing in some cloud, perhaps some light outbreaks of rain later into the day. But as we move our way eastwards across the Mediterranean, we can see it's mostly dry, settled, plenty of sunshine. That theme continues over the weekend, along with the warm sunshine.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations forecast.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Sunday with Michael Portillo from 11, only on GB News.
Are you certified to drive a steam locomotive?
I am, indeed I am.
Well done.
I've had the privilege of doing it on a number of occasions elsewhere, yes.
Marvellous. Well, have a great outing. Yes. Well, let's go from steam power to battery power, if we may. Now, who organised this event, and did it have a serious purpose?
It wasn't just a stunt. I've been involved in the Great Western Railway battery train project for a number of years now, on and off, and so observing it. And I had the privilege of going to see it being moved from the depot in Long Marston in the Cotswolds down to Reading last year. And the reason this is being done, it's a former underground train that has been sort of converted and upgraded and turned something completely modern and new. You could never tell it's a 1970s underground train. What is crucial about this is the fast charge battery power that's underneath it, really. That's technology they've been testing this with. And it's 6 big batteries, very modern, unusual, high-tech batteries, with charging that happens at stations. And it gives it a massive sort of oomph of power when it is stationary at a station, for just a couple of minutes, powers it right up, with 2 little sort of charging rails you can shoes underneath, and then lets us train carry on for a long distance at a very decent acceleration. But what this is crucial for, really, is you think about the railway lines we have around Britain, rural branch lines, where ideally we would electrify. We'd have, the decent, overhead electricity or under rails. But that's very, very, very expensive and is unlikely to get a business case for those in some of the more rural branch lines, probably for the next decade or two. We'd like to have it earlier, but we're probably not going to. So there's a stopgap solution here.
GB News, the People's Channel.
5 hosts, 5 opinions, 5 fearless debates, 5 unfiltered takes on the day's news.
5 reasons not to be anywhere else on Saturday night.
This is the Saturday 5. You got me good there. Britain's biggest Saturday night TV show.
It's not a bad brand.
Yeah. Uncensored.
Very, very racy tonight.
On the unpredictable.
What did she say? Can you translate it for us?
And always entertaining.
And how can a country go from being led by William Wallace to Saturday nights from 6 p.m. only on GB News, the People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
You're going to want to stay tuned, trust me.
Again. Welcome back to Breakfast. We're going through the papers with GB News senior political commentator Nigel Nelson and his good lady wife, former Conservative advisor Claire Pearsall. Morning, you two.
Oh, you're laughing nervously at that, Claire. You did it. You're the one who said yes.
Should we talk about digital ID cards? Claire, I'll start with you. 6 out of 10 people want them, apparently.
I'm not sure what it is they think they're going to solve.
And this has always been the problem. Whenever ID cards comes up, it's what problem are you trying to solve? And if it comes down to illegal migration, it isn't going to solve that. Why not? So it isn't going to stop people coming across on boats.
No, but
it's not going to stop it.
But if in everyday life, if you get used to having to show your ID card,
So you want to be in a country where you have to show ID at every opportunity?
Well, if it...
Do you really want the government to have even more data?
If it's reached that point where then we know who's meant to be here and who isn't, why not?
But I don't think it's going to solve that at all, because if you're in the black economy, you aren't going to go out of your way to be recognised by the state. You're going to keep yourself in the dark. And the employers that take on people, if they're willing to take on people that shouldn't work in the United Kingdom, they're not really going to care whether they've got a digital or a physical ID.
There is a halfway house here. Like Claire, I object to having a compulsory ID card. I refuse to have a card to walk around my own country.
That's it.
If you have ID, it's because you want something. Passport to go abroad, driving licence so you can drive. Now, I'm not against the idea of actually simplifying the right-to-work process. There's about 70 pages that employers have to go through on regulations. Let's have a right-to-work card. If you want the right to work, and this would cope with your illegal migrants. If you want the right to work, you carry a card and show your employer. If you choose that, actually, I want extra things on my card, I want my driving licence on my card, health records, educational qualifications, say, that's a voluntary thing which you add. So whatever the card is, it must be providing a service for you because you want something.
I'm sorry, but have you ever met a government? Because governments and
frequently, I know what you're about to say.
Dealing with data is absolutely appalling. Now, we have seen so many times that any government project where it comes to IT always is late, over budget, and inevitably will go wrong. And also they can't look after our data in any meaningful way. And we'd seen it over the years. Data being left on trains.
That's going to have to be improved because we're moving to a point where everything is going to be
and this is why I don't trust the government to have all of that detail. And it's all very well to say, oh, we're going to have some kind of optional system.
The whole thing is that all those details actually do exist in government.
But you want to put it all in one place. So how easy is that going to be to hack then?
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that not all in one place. If you volunteer for it, because it's useful to you. I mean, at the moment it seems to have suddenly become popular. 6 out of 10 people seem to like the idea. It was tried back in 2009 in Manchester. There was a pilot, and that was a biometric card, and only 15,000 people actually signed up to it. So it may not be as popular there, but that's what I'm saying is, if you want something and the government is prepared to give you something that you do want, then have a go at it.
All right.
Nigel, let's stay with you and look at something totally different, shall we? Nigella's cereal secret.
Yeah, well, I'm going to try this. I like this idea. Yeah, I like this idea. What Nigella Lawson is saying is that instead of putting breadcrumbs on chicken, put cornflakes on. I mean, what I'm presuming is that these are crunched up cornflakes.
Yeah.
How revolutionary.
Well, it sounds good. I mean, look, I didn't fancy a Marmite on spaghetti. I thought that was probably going too far. Caramel on potatoes, but the idea of actually cornflakes on chicken, on sort of a roast chicken, sounds to me quite good.
It's not new, is it?
I don't think it's new. No, it isn't. I mean, I'd like to big up my own culinary skills here.
You've never cooked me cornflake chicken.
No, but I've cooked you Dorito chicken.
Oh, you have.
Just the same kind of thing. Zingy kind of crunchy topping onto chicken makes it just much nicer. I remember my mum in the 90s crunching up a bag of ready salted crisps and putting it on top of you'd probably quite like it, like a mushroom macaroni cheesy bake. Yeah. Adds just a nice crunch.
Who'd have thought it? There are no new ideas in the world,
There's no new ideas. It isn't down to Nigella. I think it might be down to my mother.
My favourite story of the morning, though it does have some security concerns.
Of course.
This is in The Sun, Claire. Who would ever thought there'd be sex noises in the House of Commons?
Who'd have thought it? In the chamber of the House of Commons. There is a serious side to what is also quite an amusing story, is that somebody had planted a mobile phone near to where Sir Keir Starmer would stand for PMQs, which was primed to play some adult noises when he stood up to speak at the dispatch box. That's quite amusing. I'm sorry, I did snigger at that, but it does bring into wonder what else can people get in? What access did they have to the chamber? And if it wasn't for the security sweep, luckily they did find it. But you do wonder how many other people had tried other places and other things to bring in. I just think the security of that place needs looking at.
Well, yeah, but I mean, admittedly, you can obviously get a mobile phone through security in the first place,
but you
where you wouldn't
shouldn't.
get anything else get through security.
You shouldn't be able to just wander into the chamber of the House of Commons. I think that
it has got cameras in there.
It does have cameras in there, and I think that there'll be some serious looking.
There's going to be an MP, by the way. I mean, visitors do actually go through there, and there is this security sweep before they sit. So that's how it was found. So you would hope any little box that was lying around there that might be more sinister that they would find.
Yeah. You would, but also it sort of begs the question: is this somebody trying something out? They found a mobile phone. What would they try next? Something that was slightly smaller in size that may be missed. I mean, that place is easy to hide things in. I mean, you know that. The sheer design of the place allows itself.
I totally get it. It's there are serious implications from this which are very important. However, I wish it had gone off.
Well, we all do. We all do.
Yeah.
Just absolutely marvellous, wouldn't it?
With the amount already going on with Angela Rayner.
I mean, that would have just been the icing on the cake. It would. Yeah.
Even Angela Rayner would have smiled.
It might have cheered her up a bit, maybe.
Yeah, it might have done. Right, you two, thank you very much indeed. You've agreed on a reasonable amount of stuff.
Yeah, we did. Yeah. Yes, we sort of vaguely.
ID cards.
We have a different view on
Only
ID
slightly.
cards.
Only slightly.
It's
A win is a win.
All right, you two, thank you very much indeed.
Here's Honor with the weather.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed Aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello there, good morning. Welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office. After some thunderstorms yesterday, today is set to be a dry day with sunny spells. Feeling a lot warmer in lighter winds, though we can't rule out occasional showers, mainly across the northwest. But for most, it is set to be a dry day. We'll see some fair weather cloud build up, particularly as we head through into the afternoon, but plenty of sunny spells in between and much lighter winds, so feeling more pleasant than it did yesterday. We'll eventually see more clouds start to push into the northwest, where we can't rule out some showers, but you'll be pretty unlucky if you do catch any through the bulk of the day. For many, it's going to remain dry, highs reaching between 21 to 22 degrees Celsius. As we head through into the evening, we'll start to see a return of the cloud once again across the far northwest. We'll start to really see winds begin to build here through into the evening as well. Once again, some showers eventually being replaced by longer spells of rain. Across Northern Ireland, northern parts of England, once again, it should remain dry, but we'll start to see that breeze pick up as we head further into the evening. Elsewhere across England and Wales, remaining dry, and we'll see a mix of cloud and also some clear spells. Where we see those prolonged clear spells, particularly across central areas of England, parts of the southeast, we may see some isolated spots of mist and fog, but really it's all down to the winds building out into the west, more clouds, some showery outbreaks, particularly across Northern Ireland and western parts of Scotland. Northwestern parts of England could also pick up some of those showers, but under the clear skies, feeling a lot cooler and fresher to start the day as we head into the weekend. Now, for most, once again, it should be a mostly dry and settled day. We'll start to see a build of higher cloud, which might just create some hazy sunny spells, some milky skies, rather than any sunny spells in particular. But once again, across Northern Ireland, parts of western Scotland, we'll see that cloud thicken up through the course of the day, and we'll see some showers. And it's set to be quite a breezy day too. Otherwise, it's fairly similar temperatures to today, highs reaching 22 to 23 degrees Celsius.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed Aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Good morning. This is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. On the eastbound side of the M62, there's been a serious incident involving multiple vehicles between Junction 26 and Junction 27, and currently lanes are restricted. Over in Essex, a vehicle fire on the A120 westbound near the junctions with the A131 south and the M11 has resulted in one lane being closed. Consequently, expect delays in these regions, though traffic should return to normal by 9:15 this morning. Additionally, on the trains, the Gatwick Express has no service today, while the Elizabeth line is experiencing disruption at London Paddington. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
It's our biggest Great British giveaway to date. You could be driving away with this brand new Benamar Primera motorhome. This 4-berth home from home comes complete with integrated kitchen and bathroom areas and has all of the tech you'd expect from the latest 2025 model. We'll also give you an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash to make sure that any adventures you take in your new motorhome are taken in style. For a chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk then?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact is Trump made a good start, no.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Good morning. Angela Rayner's tax row intensifies.
Yes, the lawyers used by the Deputy Prime Minister to purchase her £800,000 flat in Hove now claim they did not give her tax advice and that they've been made scapegoats.
Well, her team insists there was no wrongdoing, but the revelation has sparked more scrutiny and raised questions about how long she can stay in her job.
Nadine Dorries defects to Reform UK. The former Boris Johnson loyalist brands the Tory party dead as she jumps ship.
I support a merger with a party that is fiscally irresponsible and would do things with our economy that would take this country into a very dark place.
Shadow Chancellor of the Exchequer, Mel Stride, tells our political editor he has no faith in reform.
Well, it comes as Nigel Farage's party kick off their annual conference in Birmingham today.
That's right, big news here in Birmingham with that conference starting. It's a big place here, the NEC, but back in London, it's really kicking off. We're expecting a report into Angela Rayner's future and how she behaved over her tax affairs within hours, and that will decide her future.
And what a context that is for the Reform Party to gather here in Birmingham. Around a 10-point lead in the polls. Can they professionalise? Can they sustain it as it looks like the government is facing difficulties?
Making it rain. The Prince and Princess of Wales join young people at a very wet natural history museum to learn about wildlife.
Hello there, good morning. After some heavy thunderstorms yesterday, today is set to be much drier, brighter, and with the return of some sunshine. Stay tuned and I'll be here with all the details.
It's just gone 9 o'clock. I'm Stephen Dixon.
I'm Ellie Costello, and this is GB News Breakfast.
No, we've just had a really lovely treat here in the studio.
Oh, we did.
Anna Riley is in the building.
And doesn't she look great?
She looks fantastic.
She's fantastic.
It's the first time I've ever actually met her.
But it doesn't
in the flesh.
feel
It doesn't
that
feel
way.
like that because we talk to her all the time.
And you probably feel the same way, don't you?
Yeah.
You feel like you know Anna Riley. And do you know what I noticed about you? You went awful northern.
Did I? To go proper northern?
Yeah, you went, oh, that's dead posh, that is. I was like, where did that come from?
Because that's my real voice.
Yes, and it comes out.
That's my real voice. I put on this, obviously very posh voice for you. But when I go home and everything, it's
It's lovely.
I talk proper like this all the time.
And Anna Riley walked in and started talking to you, and you just were there. Northerners together. It was amazing.
Hello.
Amazing to watch. Hello. Hiya.
It's lovely.
Yeah.
Isn't it lovely to meet people, though? And the one thing we always like about Anna when she's on screen and see her reporting up and down the north is that she's just such a warm, lovely person.
She's
like
so warm.
Like all Northerners are.
Yeah, she's warm and bubbly, and she's exactly the same in person as she is on the screen as well. So it's lovely to see her down here in London, isn't it?
We just need to take her on one of them fairground rides because she's been doing all of that, hasn't she?
That's my favourite, Anna Riley.
In the summer, they were classic.
Yeah, on a teacup or on a spinny thing.
Yeah, brilliant.
Great telly.
Anyway, that was a nice surprise for us.
That was nice, and I think we should really take the breakfast show up to Hull or something.
We should. We've been saying this for a long time.
We should. I mean, just get Anna Riley here with us. We can just chat with her.
The problem is it costs quite a lot of money to actually take us out on the road, but I still think we should do it. I'm
worth every
telling
penny.
the bosses if they're listening. We should get out and about, and then we can do the breakfast show, and you can come along, do it with an audience.
With us and Anna Riley.
Be great.
Be great.
Anyway, let us know. Email in.
Yeah,
Put a bit of
email
pressure
in.
on.
Put some pressure on. We're up for that, aren't we?
Definitely.
You'd be amongst your people.
Be great. We could do Hull, we could do Liverpool, we could do Manchester, we could do Leeds.
I love Leeds.
Doncaster.
Great shopping.
Yeah, be great. Get your priorities right.
Good people as well.
Yeah,
I've got family in Leeds, haven't I? I'm part Northerner.
Oh, yes.
That's why
Grandma
I'm also
Costello's up there, isn't she?
She is, yeah. She's in Leeds, so I'll claim some Northern heritage as well.
Oh, we'll stay there then. Save on the expenses. Save on the hotels. Stay at Grandma's.
That's actually a great idea. She'd love that, yeah.
Yeah, right. Anyway, look, enough of this nonsense, because there's lots of serious stuff to talk to, including Angela Rayner's lawyers, claiming they did not give her tax advice and they've been made scapegoats to help protect her.
Well, the firm that handled the purchase of that £800,000 flat in Hove say they only acted on the information that Angela Rayner provided.
Well, it is a huge blow for the Deputy Prime Minister, who blamed legal advice for her failure to pay an additional £40,000 in stamp duty.
So, with Angela Rayner's story disputed by her lawyers, is it now just only a matter of time before Sir Keir Starmer gives her her marching orders?
Well, let's head up to Birmingham, where Christopher Hope, our political editor, is at the Reform UK conference, just ahead of its kick-off a little bit later on today. I mean, look, what a headache for this. I mean, I know we are expecting this review into what she's done very shortly, Chris, but either which way it looks bad, frankly.
Yes, morning Steve and morning Ellie from the NEC. The focus would have been and will be today, of course, on the Reform UK conference, this big event hosted by Nigel Farage, of course, the leader. But back in London, it's getting very, very hot for Angela Rayner. She's the Deputy Prime Minister, of course. She sold a part of her home, her share in that in her home in Ashton, and bought a property in Hove for £800,000. It's claimed she didn't pay the right stamp duty of £40,000. She admits that she got the wrong advice, but the people giving that advice have now kicked back in the morning's Telegraph. The conveyancing firm that did that work have said they've done nothing wrong and they were acting on information provided. We did not give and have not given tax or trust advice. So increasingly, she's looking highly isolated. Now, we're expecting a report out today from a Whitehall expert called Laurie Magnus. He's the PM's official ethics advisor, investigator. That should be coming, we think, as soon as lunchtime, and that will be a big moment, I think, in the immediate future in this government of Angela Rayner.
What do we make of Nadine Dorries' defection, Chris? How's that news going down in Birmingham? I mean, it's really split our viewers here this morning. Many people saying that she's stale, she's past it, and they were hoping for something fresh from Reform UK.
I think Reform UK needs to be everything to all people, Ellie. I mean, I think you have got Nadine Dorries. She offers experience. She's a former culture secretary, and that's what Nigel Farage needs. If he is going to create a government from just 4 sitting MPs now, he needs to bring in experience from the past. The people who have run government departments won't be given the runaround by the civil service. So that's why I think it matters, and is probably quite a good thing that he's pulling in senior Tories. I can reveal on your your show, who is the surprise guest that Reform UK will have on later. He is called Preston Manning. He is the founder and leader of the Reform Party of Canada. Now, why this really matters, you're seeing on screen there, why this really matters is that Reform Party in Canada in 1989 won one local by-election in Canada, and then in 1993 swept the board, beating the Tory Party, the Conservative Party of Canada, into third place. They are on a platform of spending restraint, cuts in immigration, and wider reform of what they call the Senate, that's the political system. That's exactly the kind of thing which Nigel Farage has been pressing about, and that's why it's so important. So we'll be seeing Preston Manning speaking to members later, a big moment. I think he is almost the godfather of the Reform UK Party here in the UK.
Interesting. Chris, thank you. Well, let's head over to another part of the NEC, should we? Because our deputy political editor, Tom Harwood, is also there, soaking up the atmosphere, I guess, Tom. Does it have a different feel about it this year?
Oh, I've got to tell you, I've been to the last few conferences of the Reform Party. A couple of years ago, it was a very small affair in one little corner of one hotel. Last year, it was here at the Birmingham NEC, but in a much smaller area. This year, it feels like it's grown up. It feels like a much, much larger party conference. And I have to say, we're standing in front of a whole host of football shirts here, Stephen. These have been sold by the Reform Party, and there was a bit of criticism at the start of what was the sale of these shirts, because they were all saying Farage 10 on them. People were asking, well, where's the team? Well, Reform have answered that question today. They've got 11 shirts here, a full football team behind, of all of those MPs, the regional mayors, the new defections in the Welsh Assembly, the Senedd, in the Scottish Parliament, the member of the London Assembly, Alex Wilson there, and they've all got 29 on the back, looking forward to what could be a 2029 election. So there you go, 11 Reform shirts here on display. But people are not yet quite trickling in. We're just getting the first few people arriving at this conference. It's got to be a big 2 days of speeches, of announcements, and of course that big defection from Nadine Dorries. Now, this is all in the context of a government that I think it's fair to say is facing another crisis today. Reform has been steadily ahead in the polls for months after months after months now. The question is, can they use this conference to professionalise, to prove themselves as a party that is capable of taking on government? Well, I think one thing to note at this conference is that for the first time, there are corporate sponsors here. There are companies that are paying attention to Reform UK in a way that perhaps they weren't in the last year's conference, when, yes, they did have MPs, but they weren't polling anywhere near the level they're polling today. The entire media is here. Lots of people are looking to this conference to see if this will be the moment the party faces the challenges of government. Can it grow up? Can it take on that challenge?
OK, Tom Harwood there for us in Birmingham. Thank you very much.
It is a remarkable story. I mean, whether you're
yeah.
a Reform supporter or not, it's a remarkable thing to see a party come from nowhere and then be, you know, a potential government. And say, even if you don't like them, you can't ignore the fact that, you know, look at the polls. There's an election tomorrow. Farage should be in number 10. They'd have a huge majority in the House of Commons. Doesn't need the Conservatives to back them up or anything else. Just wouldn't need it.
Yeah. The Telegraph today, about 1 in 3 voters say they would vote for Reform now if there were an election tomorrow. So it's incredible, really. It was just a glint in Nigel Farage's eye just a few years ago.
Yeah. Isn't it interesting? It's a fascinating story. It will go down in the history books, however which way it works out in 2029 or any time beforehand. So there you go.
Big challenge on their hands, though, as Tom was saying. They need to professionalise, don't they, and keep that momentum that they've currently got in the polls.
Yeah.
It's a long way to go.
Yeah, it is. It is. Right, should we talk money? It's our latest Great British giveaway, and our biggest prize to date, worth more than £100,000.
Yes, you could win a 4-berth motorhome worth over £74,000, plus a whopping £30,000 in tax-free cash. Here are all the details.
It's our biggest, greatest Great British giveaway to date. Your chance to win a prize package worth over £104,000.
You could be driving away with this brand new Benamar Primero motorhome. With thanks to Marquis Leisure, this 4-berth home from home comes complete with integrated kitchen and bathroom areas, sky view roof lights, and has all the tech you'd expect from the latest 2025 model.
We'll also give you an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash to make sure any adventures in your motorhome are taken in style.
For a chance to win the motorhome and cash, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. The winner will be contacted live on GB News, week commencing 10th November. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Right, still to come, we're going to be looking at a wireless charging electric car. We'll talk to the motoring expert Quentin Wilson in just a couple of ticks.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's political podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's political podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions. But every Friday night at 9 p.m, you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
no,
Because the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact is Trump made a good start, no.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Miriam, you can't be serious. Scrapping the triple lock on state pensions? Madness.
Andrew, we just can't carry on pretending. The numbers just don't add up. We've got to be honest with people. We've got to face the facts. That's what people want.
Well, that's what you get on GB News and on Britain's Newsroom. Lively debates, lively conversation.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first, and we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pearce.
And me, Miriam Gates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m. only on GB News.
9:17 now. Porsche.
Yes.
Or Porsche.
Porsche.
Is it?
Well, I'd say Porsche.
I don't know. I've lost track there. I got confused with Nike and Nike. I don't know still what I'm doing.
I'm still a bit lost there.
Anyway, that maker of posh cars is promising to be the first to bring full wireless charging to some of its models.
Yes, they're going to launch a charging system that will remove the need to plug an electric car into the wall, with drivers instead parking over a pad, which will then wirelessly charge the vehicle.
Which I think is quite exciting.
I think it's really exciting.
The technology has so far only been trialled with electric HGVs and buses, which I don't want.
Well, we're now joined by motoring journalist Quentin Wilson. Morning to you, Quentin. Is this the same technology that you would put your phone on a charging pad, like a wireless charging pad?
It's exactly that, Ellie. It's magnetic fields which create a space for the electricity to go through. It's called inductive charging. And it's been around a long time. I mean, Nikola Tesla was doing this 100 years ago. And we see it, as you've said, Stephen, in buses and HGV charging. But the game-changing thing about this is that it might allow us to have charging pads outside our houses in the road, so you don't have to do all the wires stuff and plugging in, and you don't have to have a driveway. So in that sense, it is a game changer. If we can commercialize it, bring the cost down, and roll it out on a large scale.
The key would be, I guess, speed. Because one thing we know, if you're a technology geek like me, is charging something wirelessly tends to be quite a lot slower than plugging it in.
Yeah, there's what's known as capacity loss. So, it's about 93% of the charging you would get with a wire, but scientists are saying we could get it to 98%. So, yeah, and also the amount of electricity you can put through it is limited. I mean, these are 11 kilowatts. You won't be putting 300 kilowatts through these. But for overnight charging, which is what 80% of the population with EVs do, it's actually a reasonable solution. And for mass market EV buyers who don't want to faff around with cables, it's actually quite a good idea. And for taxi ranks and for buses, and eventually you might even be able to put it into roads. So as you drive along, your car or your bus or your van or whatever is charged. So it is a very significant development.
I mean, and that's the key, isn't it? Because I know it would be a long time coming. I mean, the infrastructure would take a long time to get into place. But the idea that you can charge an electric vehicle and it is constantly being charged as you drive along would absolutely be a game changer. You wouldn't even need to spend a fortune on particularly large batteries.
No, I mean, there are all sorts of hurdles, all sorts of things, but that's the speed of change that's happening in this sector. And people say, well, I'll never have an electric car. Well, just hang on and watch how they're going. I mean, when I bought one in 2009, it did 50 miles to one charge and 30 miles if you put the heater on. Now, regularly you can get 400, 450 miles. So that's just in 10 years. So watch and wait, and we will see this sector really transform.
But how long do you think it will be, Quentin, until this sort of technology is available to the masses? Because, as you say, the challenge is going to be bringing the cost down, isn't it, and making it available to everybody?
Yeah, I mean, this always happens with economies of scale, Ellie, doesn't it? I mean, when you had batteries first in 2009, they were $1,400 per kilowatt hour. Now they're less than $100 per kilowatt hour. So it will happen. And if something like this, investors look at it and say, goodness, this really is a game changer, those speeds can be really, 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 upped by the fact that huge amounts of capital comes in and it starts to get rolled out. But I mean, I don't know. It could be 10 years, it could be 5, but it's certainly something that is quite exciting.
I mean, it's fascinating, isn't it? Because I know a lot of people, a lot of our viewers will be sat there thinking, well, I don't want an electric car, I'd never have one. The point is, we're not going to have much choice before too long, are we?
Well, look, electric cars aren't for everybody, but you can buy a combustion car now. You can buy it right up until midnight on 2030, December, and carry on driving that forever. Nobody's stopping you driving a combustion car. But I would just say to your viewers, and having driven them for such a long time, that you save so much money. The minimal servicing. I've spent, I think, 500 quid on my electric car in 5 years on maintenance. And then, of course, no fuel, and it's 7.5p per kilowatt hour, so 4 quid to drive to London. Look at the numbers. When you understand how cheap it is, it just changes the whole thing. You put your ideological objections to one side and say, this is the cheapest mobility I can get.
Money talks, Quentin. Thank you very much. It does. Good to see you this morning, Quentin, as always. Thank you.
Love it. Right, 9:30. It's going to be Britain's Newsroom with Charlie Peters and Miriam Cates, who are here. Good morning, you two.
Good morning, both of you. Morning.
What's in store?
Well, we've got a packed show because we're going to be continuing live from the Reform Conference with Tom Harwood. So we're expecting lots of excitement there. The first time they're holding a conference where Farage could potentially be the next Prime Minister, according to the polls.
Yes, and there's obviously that continued coverage of Angela Rayner on the knife edge. A lot of discussion about when that ethics advisor's report will come back, what it might mean for her, and also I have a very special exclusive guest, which is Daisy Blakemore Creedon, the former Labour councillor in Peterborough, who left the party earlier this year. She has shared texts from the now former head of the council, who described Rotherham grooming victims as white trash. So she'll be in here to discuss that, and she's going to share her insight into those messages and what it might say about politicians and their views on victims.
And some breaking news. The Telegraph is recommending Charlie for a peerage. So by the end of the programme, it might be Britain's Newsroom with Lord Peters. So we'll keep you abreast.
It's a bit of a jokey article, I should stress. The
I think it's deathly serious.
Writers at the Telegraph have been asked to put forward who they think should be their reform peers after I had Zia Yusuf on this morning saying they're going to pack out their potential cabinet that way. The writer Tim Stanley, for what it's worth, he's recommended himself for a peerage. So I'm not sure how serious the suggestions are.
You never know. You never know.
Why do I want to leave People's News Channel? Come on.
You can't be an MP if you're a peer, but you can be a TV presenter, surely.
Oh, famously, yeah. Why not?
Don't expect us to bow and scrape, Charlie. Not a chance.
Not your business, that is it.
Let us know what you think of that suggestion. tvnews.com/you'll But first of all, we've got your weather.
Today, clouds overhead, total zen within. Boxed Solar sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello there, good morning. Welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office. After some thunderstorms yesterday, today is set to be a dry day with sunny spells. Feeling a lot warmer in lighter winds, though we can't rule out occasional showers, mainly across the northwest. But for most, it is set to be a dry day. We'll see some fair weather cloud build up, particularly as we head through into the afternoon, but plenty of sunny spells in between and much lighter winds, so feeling more pleasant than it did yesterday. We'll eventually see more clouds start to push into the northwest where we can't rule out some showers, but you'll be pretty unlucky if you do catch any through the bulk of the day. For many, it's going to remain dry, highs reaching between 21 to 22 degrees Celsius. As we head through into the evening, we'll start to see a return of the cloud once again across the far northwest. We'll start to really see winds begin to build here through into the evening as well. Once again, some showers eventually being replaced by longer spells of rain. Across Northern Ireland, northern parts of England, once again, it should remain dry, but we'll start to see that breeze pick up as we head further into the evening. Elsewhere across England and Wales, remaining dry, and we'll see a mix of cloud and also some clear spells. Where we see those prolonged clear spells, particularly across central areas of England, parts of the southeast, we may see some isolated spots of mist and fog, but really it's all down to the winds building out into the west, more clouds, some showery outbreaks, particularly across Northern Ireland and western parts of Scotland. Northwestern parts of England could also pick up some of those showers, but under the clear skies, feeling a lot cooler and fresher to start the day as we head into the weekend. Now for most, once again, it should be a mostly dry and settled day. We'll start to see a build of higher cloud, which might just create some hazy sunny spells, some milky skies, rather than any sunny spells in particular. But once again, across Northern Ireland, parts of western Scotland, we'll see that cloud thicken up through the course of the day, and we'll see some showers. And it's set to be quite a breezy day too. Otherwise, it's fairly similar temperatures to today, highs reaching 22 to 23 degrees Celsius.
Today, clouds overhead, total zen within. Boxed Solar sponsors the weather on GB News.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Good morning. This is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. Traffic disruptions persist on the A282 southbound near the A296 and A225 junction. In Northamptonshire, the M1 southbound has a collision between junction 15A and junction 15, closing one of 4 lanes. Over in Kent, the M25 clockwise faces a collision at junction 1B, closing 2 of 3 lanes. Essex's A120 westbound reports a vehicle fire between junctions with the A131 south and the M11, so 1 lane is shut. And on the trains, Gatwick Express has no service, while the Elizabeth line faces disruptions at London